greatest guys.
These are some of the funniest fake Minecraft speedruns of the year. Like, comment, and subscribe. This speedrun, their microphone is absurd. What are you using? A toaster oven to record? Anyways, if I freeze frame here, there is a lot we need to talk about. The first thing is their world loads unbelievably quickly, and their timer is starting even though they didn't begin their speedrun, which is weird, but whatever. But wait, there's more. Top left of the screen, I'm sorry, but is that a farmer just looking directly at the ground? What in tarnation? And then this is the last thing just for now. That tree has different kinds of leaves on it. All of those weird things aside, everything else looks very normal. So the speedrunner approaches this tree in front of them, they break it, and then they make a crafting table. And then they make a hoe to break the tree. Buddy, have you ever heard of an axe?
This is the most efficient, don't question me. Otherwise I'm gonna hit you in the head with a potato.
I'm sorry, did he just say I'm gonna hit you in the head with the potato? Alright, I'm confused, but let's move on. Is this guy okay? Well, after the speedrunner spends a good 10 seconds clearing their throat, they approach, I'm not sure what this is. Well, what is this, a mini beach biome? I have never in my entire experience of Minecraft seen sand just hanging out.
Some sort of beachy structure here.
Yeah, so the speedrunner says this is some sort of beachy structure, and then they begin to dig down into the sand. And they find a boat with a chest on it. Their reaction to it is so funny.
We're just gonna, oh my goodness, a boat? What?
They find cooked salmon, they find a leather tunic, iron ingots, diamond, and iron sword. While this is legitimate loot for a buried chest, it would not show up in an oak boat with a chest. Yeah, dum-dum. Well, the speedrunner takes their newly found loot and then they say this.
I need this boat later, just a hunch, I don't know.
Yeah, I might need this boat later, just a hunch, I don't know. I am scared to find out what they're gonna use that boat for.
Sorry guys, my pet goldfish was going for a walk and I had to stop him.
I'm sorry, did the speedrunner just say my pet goldfish was gonna go for a walk and I had to stop him? I'm so confused. Let's just move on. After that, the speedrunner finds a ruined nether portal, which is very, very lucky. They open up the chest, there's 2 axes, golden ingots, golden blocks, fire charges. This is fantastic news. But hang on a second there, buddy. Tell me if you just noticed that. I'm gonna play it again, I'm not gonna point it out, just tell me if you noticed it.
There's always good stuff in the chest.
Did you see it this next time around? You still didn't? Okay, let me help you out. If I go frame by frame, there is the most subtle cut where the amount of obsidian that is in front of them just multiplies magically. And I gotta say, that cut was so subtle, I barely noticed it. Well, anyways, then the speedrunner crafts a diamond pickaxe so that they can mine this obsidian and complete the ruined nether portal. But hang on a second. You tell me, how did they just make a diamond pickaxe? Because if I rewind just a minute ago, the speedrunner had 2 diamonds. So the only thing I can assume is that during that very slight cut, they also gave themselves 1 extra diamond. Yeah, you think you're slick, buddy? Well, the speedrunner legitimately wastes about a whole minute just mining that obsidian. You gotta do what you gotta do. They realize that they can use the fire charges to light the nether portal, so they do that and they enter the nether. But when they enter the nether, their reaction to what is about to happen is just so funny.
Oh my goodness, what? That's the most rare nether fortress bastion never before seen.
I'm not sure what it is, but the what just makes me chuckle. Yeah, this is a nether fortress conjoined into a bastion. Is this possible? I don't even know. Anyways, the speedrunner creates a shield, and then they enter the bastion or the nether fortress. I'm not really sure what they're entering. After just a few seconds of exploring, the speedrunner immediately comes across a blaze spawner. Now, I don't know if you noticed this earlier, but if I go frame by frame, the golden axe they're using actually has Fortune 3, which is really gonna come in handy. After about a minute or 2 of fighting the blazes, they have 5 blaze rods, but unfortunately they are at half a heart and about to die. And then the speedrunner says this.
I am half a heart, this is not looking good. I might have to put in my resignation now.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put in my resignation. I don't know why, it just made me laugh. Well, the speedrunner bucks up, they eat their cooked salmon, and they make a run for it. They get 1 more blaze rod, and at a world record pace of 6 minutes, they run into a piglin in the fortress bastion. And these next few moments are so wildly hilarious because the speedrunner is just screaming at the piglin to get in the hole. I don't know what it is. I am crying from laughing. Just watch this.
Get in the hole. Get in the hole, piglin. Get in the hole! Get in the hole!
way that it cuts to the piglin just suddenly being in a hole is priceless. You cannot make this up. Well, anyways, the piglin is now in the hole. The speedrunner gives 26 gold ingots to the piglin. And again, what you can hear from the speedrunner's microphone is so funny during this trading process.
String? Are you kidding me? I'm not a spider. What am I gonna do with string? Brick. What did I tell you about the brick? I don't even want brick. Oh my goodness, there's ender pearls down there. I didn't even see them. Why didn't you say something to me? You were just giving me brick the whole time and there's ender pearls.
The way the speedrunner just gradually gets so frustrated by their poor trades, and the footage just cuts to, oh, okay, there's ender pearls. That's fantastic news. Well, the speedrunner does get 4 ender pearls, and they craft Eyes of Ender. But they put a charge in their crafting box. Buddy, have you never created an Eye of Ender before? This is priceless. Now, hang on a second. I'm gonna show that clip to you again when they're crafting, and tell me if you noticed what just happened.
My 4 Eyes of Ender. And... yeah.
Alright, you still didn't see it? Let me go frame by frame. Take a look at how I go frame by frame. On the right side of the screen, you can see their sword. But on the next frame, it's a completely different moment. It was a very subtle cut that I barely even noticed myself. But what's different here? They still have 4 Eyes of Ender. Everything seems normal, right? I'm gonna pause it here. Do things still seem normal? Nope. They suddenly have 10 Eyes of Ender. So the only thing we can assume is that there was a very sudden cut. The speedrunner decided, I want more Eyes of Ender, so they just dropped them on the ground in creative mode and cut it all out. Come on, do you think we're bozos? So with 10 Eyes of Ender, the speedrunner returns to the overworld. Then they break a tree and they jump into the ocean. But wait a second, what in the world is that? It's very clear to see that there is an ocean monument in the ocean, but above the sea level, what? Is this a new structure that I just haven't heard of? I think I missed a few updates. Well, the speedrunner swims towards this structure. Once the speedrunner reaches this beachy structure, you can hear them say this.
Luckily, I saved this boat. I might need this boat for falling down a hole, perhaps.
Luckily, I saved this boat. I might need this boat for falling down a hole, perhaps. Gee, I wonder if there's a hole beneath them. So now that the speedrunner has conveniently fallen down into this hole, you can hear them say this.
I really just needed some iron.
Yeah, I really just needed some iron. But you know what? Let's watch them mine this iron and just see what happens here.
And oh my goodness, would you look at that, the portal room?
Their reaction to falling into the portal room is just so goofy. Well, yeah, that all happened very quickly. So the speedrunner fills the portal with eyes and they enter the end. At a world record 12 minutes and 30... Yeah, that's not world record. This guy is literally slower than a legitimate speedrunner. That is just sad. And you could tell they just genuinely have no idea what they are doing. They consume a potion of fire resistance. Why? That is not gonna do anything for you. Then the speedrunner builds up to one of these obelisks to break one of the end crystals, and when they do, there's just the most ridiculous cut. Now listen, some of their cuts in the past have been very subtle, but this one was so blatant, and after this sudden cut, they open their inventory. This speedrunner never in the entire footage got a bow. You can rewind and check for yourself. I'm 99% sure they never picked up a bow, and now they just suddenly have one. And yeah, you hear the speedrunner say this.
Luckily, I got this bow from earlier, like that one time, so...
Luckily, I got this bow earlier that one time. When? Tell me that one time. But the last thing this speedrunner needs is a bow because they are horrible at using it. They proceed to miss every single shot that they take, and then you can hear them saying this.
You guys know I'm one of the best sharpshooters in the nation. Yeah, I'm ranked Diamond Platinum Double 200.
They say that they're Diamond Platinum Double 200. What is that? That's not even a rank. I have no idea what this guy is saying at this point. It's like that one friend who's a know-it-all and they just completely talk out of their rear the whole time. After just missing hundreds of shots, you can hear the speedrunner get frustrated and say that the bow is broken.
You guys know I'm one of the sharpest shooters around. This bow's broken. Come on. Stupid friend.
Despite the fact that this speedrunner is genuinely horrible at aiming, they actually are pretty good in water bucket clutches. I'm genuinely surprised. So after they surprisingly do not die from fall damage, they go up to another pillar and they're about to break another crystal. And they miss. Again, what a surprise. But on this next shot, look closely and tell me if you notice what happens.
And if I jump and I hit it, just like that, the end crystal, yeah, perfect.
Yeah, that's right. If I go frame by frame, all all of the other end crystals in sight are also destroyed at the same time. What in tarnation? How is this possible? Well, after these unexplainable events, the speedrunner does another water bucket clutch. Somehow they don't die. I am actually impressed. The speedrunner goes up to the dragon. They actually do a surprising amount of damage while they're just saying the weirdest words possible. They get thrown up in the sky again, and wow, another successful water bucket clutch. I am impressed. And this is when the biggest plot twist occurs. The speedrunner gets their bow out, they take aim, but hang on a second, what are they doing? When the dragon is perched, bow and arrow does nothing.
This is speed. Just like that, the dragon is defeated.
What in tarnation? The dragon just faded away into dust. I have so many questions. If someone can explain this to me, that would be dandy. I'm not sure why, but this made me crack up. I can hear the speedrunners saying, he's better than Dream, he's better than his cousin Dean.
Better than Dream, better than his cousin Dean.
This guy just says the goofiest stuff ever while he is speedrunning, or cheating at speedrunning. Despite cheating and being so horrible at it though, this guy beat Minecraft at more than double what a legitimate speedrunner would be able to beat the game at. Oh brother. This speedrun starts off on the world selection screen, and we could see two new save files hanging out on their screen. Speedrun moment or renew to and never mind. I don't even know, should I even say that? Well, the speedrunner creates their new world, putting their difficulty into easy mode, which as far as I know is okay. But what's not okay is them enabling cheats. And then when they go on to create their world, Minecraft gives them an error saying these settings are using experimental features. So now I'm kinda scared. What exactly are we about to witness here? Regardless, their loading screen does look normal. They spawn in and everything is as expected here. They spawn in front of some cows, they hit some cows, they get some beef. They actually spawn right in front of a pillager outpost and next to a village, which is very lucky, especially for random seeds. So the speedrunner starts approaching this village. On their way to the village though, they just waste so much time trying to kill this chicken, and wow, this guy has horrible aim, almost as bad as the other speedrunner in this video. I mean, come on buddy, how difficult is it to hit a chicken? Well, thank goodness the speedrunner does eventually reach the village. While they are in the water, they take a screenshot by accident. I don't know if it was by accident or if they just thought underwater looked pretty. And once in the village, everything looks normal. The speedrunner enters a house, they break a bed, but hang on a second. When they're approaching this next house, the door is already open. And as far as I know, villagers always close the door behind them. So what in tarnation is going on here, buddy? There's only one way we're gonna find out. Never mind, it's just a load of apples. Nothing unusual here. But hang on a second, what is the speedrunner doing? They're just sitting there, wasting tons of time. Until eventually, after wasting almost an entire minute, there is a very abrupt cut where it says set own game mode to survival, and the speedrunner picked up those 8 apples. But hang on a second, what is this in their inventory? I am pretty sure this is not a vanilla item. Well, I don't know, there's only one way we're gonna figure out what in tarnation this item is. So the speedrunner closes the chest, they break this bed, they go into another house, they break another bed. All normal things that would happen in a speedrun here. Until the speedrunner enters this one particular house, they approach this chest, they decide to start breaking it. And tell me if you notice what just happened. I'll play it again and tell me if you see it. Okay, you still didn't see it? I'm gonna go frame by frame here. After the chest is broken, there is everything you'd expect coming out of it. Some bread, maybe some grass seed, the chest itself. What is that? I am so confused. I wanna know what this item is. Hey, wait a second, what is this hole? Oh my goodness. That was just about the smoothest transition I have ever seen in my entire life. Are we still even in Minecraft? What is happening here? Yeah, this definitely looks like Minecraft. Is this Skyblock? Guys, I think I missed a few updates here. This is crazy. Minecraft has guns now. It's gory. Wheels is playing Counter-Strike 2. I'm sorry, Minecraft has a grappling hook now? What in tarnation? Alright, I'm gonna be honest, this game actually seems very cool. Can someone in the comments please tell me what this is? After the speedrunner gets a combo of which, if I said this word, I'd probably get demonetized, they suddenly just wake up in the portal room in the stronghold with tons of ender pearls and tons of blaze rods. But that does not help the fact that this guy doesn't even know how to craft blaze powder. Well, they do figure out how to make blaze powder, then they craft Eyes of Ender, and they fill the portal, entering the end. There's not that much more to this speedrun. I just thought that transition was really crazy, and I thought that game that they were playing was interesting, because the rest of the speedrun is really just them going into creative mode and unleashing a rampage on the Ender Dragon. Until they die. Yeah, I don't think anybody taught this guy how to use beds in the end. Rookie mistake. And this speedrunner is just back on their nonsense again. And then they die again. But I guess the Ender Dragon died too, so they beat the game, right? In totally world record time. I am not messing with this guy. That was legitimate. This speedrun starts off seeming a little legitimate. They've got a timer, everything's looking okay. They are starting off at an angle, which makes me suspicious. Well, the speedrunner looks around for a bit, and at that point, they locate a village, which is very, very lucky. The speedrunner does find an iron golem, but hang on a second, something here is a little fishy. They are hitting this iron golem, but it is not fighting back. So what I'm curious about is, did they spawn in this iron golem with a spawn egg from creative mode? Nope, never mind. That is not the case. The iron golem starts running away and floating. How is this possible? And yeah, that's when the iron golem just starts pooping out tons of iron ingots, iron blocks, a wooden pickaxe, cobblestone, wood. What in tarnation is going on here? Then there is a very, very sudden cut, and the speedrunner finds themselves right in front of a blue flower bed. Yeah, this seems pretty suspicious to me. Well, they dig down, immediately revealing a very, very long hole. And at the bottom, oh, okay, that's not that bad. It's just some diamond ore, no big deal. Nope, never mind. That is a diamond throne with a pillager on top of it. The pillager starts tossing blocks of diamond at the speedrunner, as well as full diamond armor and tools. And after this happens, if you listen to the speedrunner's microphone audio, there is just so much going on. It sounds like there's two people talking at the same time.
Wow, this is a new feature in the game, in the new version 1.
Dude, stop yapping, bro. The hell are you yapping?
I am so confused. Well, the speedrunner starts building back up to the surface with a diamond block, which is just the most cursed thing ever. There is another sudden cut. I don't know why, but now their experience bar looks like a rainbow. Good for them. And out of nowhere, there is a chat box pop up that says that Lands summoned a new lightning bolt. And in the sky, oh no, is that Herobrine in a cat costume? And if you listen to the audio, oh my goodness, did he just say, yo, this is the cat brine?
Herobrine.
Yo, this is the cat brine. No, it's the cat brine, bro.
Well, Herobrine in a cat costume drops obsidian blocks, floats away into the distance, and then if you just listen to the speedrunner talking, they sound so foreign, which for some reason just makes this more entertaining.
Thank you, Herobrine, from the PP land. Thank you. So I should make the nether.
I'm sorry, did he just say I shall make the nether? Well, the speedrunner ends up making their nether in a really strange shape. Whatever. They enter the nether at a world record 3 minutes. Totally legitimate. Unfortunately though, as soon as the speedrunner enters the nether, there is like 5,000 ghasts just going at it, shooting at the speedrunner, and the audio from this clip is hilarious.
Bro, dude, why did you score so many cars? Bro,
was that the notification sound from a Nokia phone? What in tarnation? Well, yeah, after a very sudden cut, their timer has been reset back to a minute. The chat says set own game mode to survival. These guys are just terrible at cheating. Well, the speedrunner is just kind of hanging out in front of this piglin, at which point they break some netherrack and the piglin falls into the hole. But, hang on a second. How in the world is that piglin holding the block of netherrack? Oh no, don't tell me this is their friend again. Well, the speedrunner throws a diamond block at the piglin. Then the piglin starts throwing ender pearls and blaze rods at the speedrunner. The speedrunner is just pooping out so many blaze rods, and you could just hear them screaming in their microphone, is this enough? Is this enough?
Dude, is this enough? Is this enough? Is this enough?
After this very lucky interaction with a very legitimate piglin, the speedrunner turns around and they find a nether fortress, at which point their friend just put themselves into spectator mode. I'm sorry, but you couldn't have just, oh, I don't know, turned off the chat log. So the speedrunner uses their ender pearl to go into the nether fortress, at which point you can hear another phone notification sound. There's just so many of those sounds throughout the speedrun. I refuse to believe that this man actually has a Nokia phone. Oh my gosh, I feel so stupid. I've been calling it the Nokia phone sound. That's just an Android phone sound. Whatever, Android, Nokia, it's all the same. Anyways, the speedrunner is in the nether fortress, even though they have as many blaze rods and ender pearls as they could possibly need. At this point, you can see that their friend has clearly taken on the role of a blaze. They're floating around like a goofy goober, and they start spawning just a bajillion blaze. The speedrunner is on half a heart. There is a very sudden cut where their timer goes back to 1 minute again. It's very clearly obvious that they died and they tried to cut it out. The text log says up there. I am scared to find out what's gonna happen next. The speedrunner starts running away from the nether fortress. Again, their friend as the blaze is just shooting across the screen. This is just so goofy. The speedrunner starts getting hit by a piglin again. They're almost about to die. Then there is another sudden cut, and in front of them is a ghast just hanging out, chilling there in front of them. And my first guess is that this ghast is their friend. These next few moments are so unbelievably hilarious. Their friend as the ghast just starts spamming billions of ghast spawn eggs. It is so funny. After nearly dying, there's another sudden cut. There's a nether portal that's lit right in front of them. Unfortunately though, they take such a long time trying to get into the overworld because this one piglin will just not give up. When the speedrunner finally does get into the overworld, their game is so beyond glitched. All you can see is a few grass blocks, the sun, and the moon. Their friend leaves the game, their friend joins back into the game. The speedrunner then tells us that they're going to just throw a pearl, and there's a new feature with a new command. Well, surprise, surprise, they do not end up throwing the ender pearl. Their timer resets back to 17 seconds, and then out of nowhere, they're just suddenly in the stronghold with the most obnoxious music playing in the background.
Alright, here you go, there you go.
The command worked.
Yes, of course it did.
Okay, we now just need to find this stronghold. I mean the end portal.
Woohoo, the command worked, good for you. The speedrunner wastes just so much time trying to find the portal room. They run into Herobrine in a cat costume again, and after wasting so many minutes of my life that I will never get back, there is a cut where they're just magically in the portal room, thank God. The speedrunner then begins crafting Eyes of Ender, even though they already have Eyes of Ender in their inventory. So the speedrunner begins filling the portal with eyes, but there is the most unexpected plot twist of all time.
Hello, boy, hey, it's me, emo guy.
Yeah, that's right, the speedrunner was graced with the presence of Emo Guy, the newest feature of Minecraft 1.21. I cannot believe it. Yeah, the speedrunner is given creative mode by Emo Guy. Oh my goodness, how lucky. And both of their reactions is just so hilarious.
Oh my god.
There you go.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Really, thank you. Oh my god. Oh my god.
The speedrunner is in the end. Emo Guy dies trying to swim in lava. The way that this speedrunner beats the game, you will never believe it.
Okay. Yes! I beat
I have to go, bro.
I beat the Ender Dragon, guys.
I'm sorry, but just floating around in creative mode at 2 minutes, using a /kill command to beat the game, followed by the Android notification sound, and their friend saying, I have to go, bro, and logging off of Discord is just the funniest series of events ever. You cannot convince me otherwise. And yeah, just like that, the speedrunner beat Minecraft at a world record 2 minutes and 17 seconds. Never mind, their speedrunner is starting again at 0. And just like that, 0.92 seconds. Holy cow. This speedrun, mentally prepare yourself to see this desktop background a lot. And you're gonna understand what I mean in just a few seconds. Right off the bat, the speedrun starts on the pause menu. They're using Lunar Client, and they are in creative mode. If this guy's goal was to speedrun getting banned, mission accomplished. So they run around for a while until they finally realize, oh wait, I'm in creative mode. So they go back into survival, and now the speedrun can commence. They traverse up this mountain and begin breaking this tree like any normal speedrun until they pause the game and you can hear them say that they're lagging.
Oh, I think I'm lagging.
Thus begins the desktop wallpaper and a lot of really weird noises.
Oh,
A whole minute goes by on their desktop, and when they come back to the game, it very clearly says that they gave themselves 120 oak logs. On top of that, they begin breaking this dirt block, and in this hole is a diamond pickaxe and an item frame and a nether portal. What in tarnation? Well, the speedrunner collects their spoils of war and they enter the nether. At this point, we realize their computer is very slow. So slow that it looks like they're in the purgatory dimension that Squidward got stuck in that one episode of SpongeBob. And as soon as the nether does load in, the speedrunner windows out again. 2 minutes go by. When they come back to Minecraft, you can still see the frame in their previous location, and the next frame is in a nether fortress. Why am I not surprised? So they're in front of a blaze spawner. They're still in creative mode, so they go back into survival. But there's just one problem. The blazes will not spawn. And take a wild guess what their quick fix is. Yep, they window out again. Another minute goes by. They go back to their game, and they give themselves 500 blaze rods. I'm sorry, but you couldn't have done something like 12? And oh, I don't know, tried to hide the fact that you're cheating? Well, the speedrunner continues exploring this nether fortress, perhaps in hopes of finding a bastion. But they press the chat button, revealing the chat history, showing a lot of nonsense. They tried to give themselves an unknown item, Minecraft 150. I have no idea what that is. Locating a fortress, teleporting themselves, and hang on a second. Before they gave themselves 500 blaze rods, they tried to give themselves 6,400. Why would anyone need that many? If you listen to the audio, the speedrunner is muttering to himself like a maniac, just saying, piglins, piglins, piglins. Boom, we get hit with another windowing out. And when they return to the game, the chat history says summoned new piglin, and there's a piglin in front of them. There's just one problem. They did not give themselves or find golden ingots, so they window out again, returning to the game, and their inventory is just full of so many ender pearls. This goofy speedrunner wastes so much time manually crafting blaze powder while they are heavily breathing into their microphone. Are you okay? They make their eyes of ender, and boom, again, we window out. Why am I not surprised? As soon as they return, there's just another portal in front of them. What in tarnation? They enter the nether portal, and upon returning to the overworld, their computer is so slow that they have lost the items in their inventory. They are even further and deeper into the Squidward purgatory dimension, so deep in that they begin falling into the void in creative mode. You can see the sun. They literally resort to almost going into creative mode, even though they realize they're already in creative mode, until they are literally forced to window out to fix their game. They return back to Minecraft in a completely different location. Their game looks like they have cranked up the sharpness to 9,000, and how convenient they found a village. After about a minute, they finally realize, oh wait, I'm still in creative mode, so they return back to survival. Approaching this villager, hitting it, but again, their computer is so slow that the villager is literally levitating. It's like a scene from the Matrix. Again, another window out. They return to the game. They suddenly have 11 beds in their inventory. And I know for a fact, this goofy goober is not going to know how to use those beds to kill the dragon. I would bet my channel on it. This guy is throwing his eyes of ender. The computer is so slow that there is like a 10-second delay. And after realizing their computer is so bad and so slow, it is unable to handle eyes of ender in the sky, they window out again. When they return to the game window, if I go frame by frame, it shows their previous location. And the next frame is literally the stronghold portal room. What in tarnation? The speedrunner fills the portal with eyes and they enter the end. But their computer has had it up to here with their goofy cheating. The end just does not load. They start typing game mode creative and they realize that is not going to solve the problem here. Their pickaxe is going haywire. It is bugging out. The cardinal directions on the top of the screen is like the compass in Stranger Things. What in the world? Again, they are forced to window out, return to the game, and it looks like everything is fixed now. Nope, things are not fixed. They put themselves into creative mode, and they try to toss these ender pearls into the void, but the pearls are literally floating in midair, or there are barrier blocks beneath them. I have no idea. Is the end stone invisible? I am so confused. Someone please explain this to me. They window out again. 5 minutes have gone by, and when they return to the game, they have so much health, it is covering the entire screen. There's command blocks in front of them. them. Not more than 5 seconds later, they have only broken a few blocks and they window out again. What more could you need at this point? I'm not really even sure what's different now. Their regeneration is going haywire. And I knew it. I said I'd bet my channel on it. The speedrunner puts the bed down in a completely wrong location. They by accident ignited, causing a huge mess. They window out again. And when they return to the game, they are in creative mode in midair, just falling. They start typing game mode survival, revealing their chat history again, showing that they used a command to make their damage set to 100,000. This guy literally would not be able to beat the education edition. They attempt beating the dragon. They can't even hit it. They get tossed around into the sky. A few minutes later, the dragon perches again. The speedrunner is hitting him by hand with endstone. They start typing a /kill command. They have no idea which command to use. Windowing out again. 2 minutes go by. They return to their game, and the dragon is just mid-death animation. How they killed the dragon, we will never know. Personally, I don't believe that they would even be able to kill the dragon cheating. I guarantee their older brother went on the computer to beat the dragon for them. I guarantee. And after beating the game, the speedrunner has a complete meltdown in their microphone to the point where they literally sound like a piglin.
We beat Minecraft! Like and subscribe for more videos!
This speedrun looks very normal at first. They're creating their new world. They're calling it Speedrun. The world creation looks very normal, but hang on a second. As soon as they spawn in, they are not looking straight ahead. Did you think this was gonna go over my head? The speedrunner approaches this tree and they begin breaking it. But the first log doesn't break. And then they try the next one and it doesn't break. So they go back to the first one and something is very wrong here. So the speedrunner goes up to this birch tree. They try the same thing. These trees just do not want to break. Then out of nowhere, the speedrun goes into double time like the movie Whiplash, and this time the tree does break. But when the speedrunner picks up those oak logs, they get the goofiest advancements in the entire world. Ruby and sapphire tools. What is cryorite? The recipes they unlock are going haywire at the top right of the screen. But hold on, if I want to analyze this garbage speedrun, I'm gonna have to slow it down. They break another tree, getting more logs, building a crafting table, some sticks, and wooden tools. At which point the speedrun goes back into normal time and they show off their extreme agility and skill by being unable to kill this pig. Buddy, have you ever played this game before? I do not think so. We're back into double time. The speedrunner digs down and they get some cobblestone. But as soon as they return to the surface, there is the goofiest Star Wars wipe transition on the screen. What, did George Lucas co-direct this speedrun? And as soon as they turn around, they find an iron jungle temple. Yeah, the iMovie style text is just the icing on the cake here. After a very sudden cut, a whole 2 minutes later, and it looks like the speedrunner just crafted a stone pickaxe. So they break these iron blocks, guessing the key code combination to the iron jungle temple, and behind the doors are diamond blocks. Why am I not surprised? There's just one problem here. The speedrunner cannot mine diamond blocks with a stone pickaxe. So don't ask me why, but they just begin mining these iron blocks with a wooden pickaxe. What in tarnation? That's even worse. Then there is a very sudden cut, revealing some really strange items on the left side of their screen. That literally looks like a block that would be in one of my thumbnails. Well, the speedrunner ends up making an iron bucket, an iron pickaxe, and an iron sword, going back into the temple to mine these diamond blocks. And do not ask me why. It is broad daylight and they consume a potion of night vision. Again, I don't think this goofy goober has ever played this game before. Well, the speedrunner tries to pull a fast one on us, making a very sly cut where they're just in a completely different location and they're breaking their crafting table with an iron pickaxe. This is painful to watch. So after aimlessly wandering around in broad daylight with night vision, there is another sudden cut that jumps ahead a whole minute and the speedrunner is in front of, I kid you not, an iron temple. What in tarnation? After nearly dying to 2 creepers with half a heart left, the speedrunner breaks this block, and the next frame, they suddenly have every status effect in the book. Strength a jillion billion. So the speedrunner drops down this hole, they fail the water bucket clutch, and inside these chests is exactly what you'd expect. I quote, lots of OP items. And I know you can't see me right now, but I'm air quoting. I kid you not, the speedrunner literally wastes 2 whole minutes organizing their inventory in double time, at which point they discover a village, entering a villager's house that has nothing in it until there's another sudden cut and the speedrunner speedrunner is just menacingly watching over this villager while he sleeps, breaking his bed and evicting him. Boom, another sudden cut. We are a whole minute later. The speedrunner is flying around in the sky like a goofy goober, and boom, another cut. They are underground now in a mine shaft, and not more than a few seconds later, and boom, another cut. They find themselves in a hallway just full of cobwebs, and I do not think they understand how to break cobwebs. Buddy, have you ever played this game before? So they just dig beneath them, and while they have wasted 15 minutes of my time, they have the gabagools to ask us to subscribe, and right after that, there's another cut. 3 whole minutes later. I am failing to understand what is the purpose of these side quests. I am just so confused. This guy is hopping around like he's floating on water. Someone needs to explain this to me. And he finds a diamond mansion. The speedrunner proceeds to, by accident, attack the illagers, nearly dying, until there is another sudden cut. They put down a furnace, and they're just wasting precious speedrun time cooking pork chops. Guys, I don't know. I think I'm being punked right now. After 2 whole minutes of cooking pork chops, there's another cut 5 whole minutes later, and the speedrunner is just in front of a ruined nether portal with 2 obsidian blocks in front of them on the ground. Just enough blocks to fill in the portal and light it. So they light the portal, entering the nether, and what in tarnation is that? The speedrunner just starts going crazy, mining every block in front of them until there's another sudden cut. We skip ahead almost 2 whole minutes, and they found a diamond fortress. Oh, brother. But while they are in this diamond fortress, there is a blaze right in front of them. They need blaze rods, right? But instead, the speedrunner decides to attack the zombified piglins, making them very angry. They run away, nearly dying. Then they just jump off of this cliff, again, nearly dying, until another sudden cut where it is 2 whole minutes later, and they're just standing in front of a nether portal with 2 hearts. I don't know how much longer I can watch this. If you thought it couldn't get worse, it does. When they return to the overworld, their portal spawns in the middle of nowhere above the ocean, so they jump into the ocean when they make another obvious cut, and they just happen to, oh, I don't know, be in a boat now. How convenient. If you are making a movie anytime soon, do not let this guy make the cuts. This guy must be Tommy Wiseau and Neil Breen's editor. I don't know. Well, everything seems normal now. Nope, I spoke too soon. 2 whole minutes later, and they're just falling into a cave. Yep, why am I not surprised? They found the iron stronghold. So after wasting a lot of time trying to find the portal room, they find themselves in a dead end. They have a total temper tantrum, breaking blocks in front of them, and now they're typing game mode creative. So the speedrunner has now been playing the game for 38 minutes. They are in creative mode. They attempt to create the end portal, emphasis on attempt. Oh, this is just so sad. They fill the eyes, and they finally get to the end in world record time. Literally unable to jump up a set of blocks. There is another cut. They're in creative mode. There's another cut. They're in survival mode, and after wasting another whole minute, they probably have strength a billion jillion. The dragon perches for probably 1 second. They're unable to kill the dragon. We can't see its health bar because it's being covered by this ginormous lime green timer. And after another minute, when the dragon finally perches again, don't ask me how or why, but the speedrunner by accident throws their sword. Whoops. But the dragon is still taking damage and somehow dies. Someone is gonna have to explain that one to me. So yes, the speedrunner gets away with the Guinness World Record for longest amount of time taken to speedrun Minecraft. 41 minutes is true dedication. The speedrunner creates their world and everything is looking normal. World creation seems legitimate. They're selecting the first slot. They're looking ahead. But hang on a second. As soon as they start moving, they are using a timer, not a stopwatch. Buddy, that's not how speedruns work. So the speedrunner spawns in what seems like the middle of nowhere. I'm not sure why, but they run around this tree. A little suspicious, but let's just roll with it. Well, nothing looks different. So the speedrunner jumps into the ocean and they're swimming. And would you look at that, straight ahead is a village. How lucky is that? So the speedrunner enters this village and everything seems very normal. But hang on a second. This house on the right, the door is already open. Totally legit. Inside this house, the speedrunner opens up the chest and they do find items that I believe to be legitimate. Some snowballs, an ice block, some seeds, some bread, a potato. But the speedrunner only takes the blue ice, the bread, and they break the bed. Then the speedrunner puts the blue ice down in a very specific spot. Weird, but okay. They go in another house, opening the chest and only taking potatoes, 2 emeralds, and they break this bed. They go in another house, take more potatoes, take more beds, beds, more potatoes, more bread. Another one, another one, another one, another bed, more bread, another bed. Hang on a second. This village is the size of New York City. How many beds are there? I'm trying to figure out why this speedrunner has wasted 3 whole minutes just collecting potatoes, bread, and beds. What is this guy? Dwight Schrute? Bears beats Battlestar Galactica? Anyways, I don't know if I'm being paranoid now, but the speedrunner enters this house. They go inside to upgrade gear, and I don't know if I'm overthinking it, but the top left slot has nothing in it, and then all of a sudden there is an icon present. Again, I don't know if I'm overthinking this. I could just be paranoid, but nothing seems fake about this speedrun yet. This guy has 13 beds. And if you look back at one of my older videos called Beating Minecraft the Right Way, I'm pretty sure there's footage in there of me once cycling the dragon with like 4 or 5 beds. You do not need 13 beds if you are speedrunning Minecraft. Just wait, it gets worse. Watch this next moment and tell me if you notice anything unusual about it. Rewind the video if you didn't notice it and try and take a better look. Yeah, that's right. If you look closely, there is a very sudden cut. The only indication is that the edges of the screen get slightly darker if I go frame by frame. Why, you might ask, there would be a sudden cut while this speedrunner is just collecting beds? Yeah, that's why. I think this guy is gonna make the American flag out of beds. Now again, watch these next few moments and tell me if you notice what's going on here. Yeah, that's right. If I go frame by frame, there is another very sudden cut. Going from the last frame to the next, they're selecting a different slot on their hotbar. You can also notice a big skip in their motion forward. Well, genuinely, nothing looks different here. So I do wonder if this speedrunner was making unnecessary cuts to throw us off of their trail. I don't know. Well, the speedrunner approaches a very inconspicuous blob of coal ore on the ground, and they begin putting beds down in a very particular manner on this coal ore. And it's really tough to say what happens here because as soon as the speedrunner turns around, there is just a lit nether portal right behind them. What in tarnation? The only thing I can imagine is that if I go frame by frame, there's a very sudden moment where they are selecting a different slot on their hotbar. What I think is going on here is that this speedrunner is kind of like a sleight of hand magician. They're just doing all sorts of wacky stuff in front of us so that we're not paying attention to the real cheating that's going on here. Well, the speedrunner does enter the nether, and unfortunately where they spawn in is not so good. There is literally nothing here. So I genuinely don't know what the speedrunner is gonna do next. Wait a second, what in the world are they doing? Yeah, hang on a second. Did you see what just happened there? If I go frame by frame, we can very clearly see the particles in the air suddenly being in completely different areas, as well as them selecting, again, another slot in their inventory. And when they turn around, the nether portal is gone, and it's replaced by a chest and an armor stand with full netherite armor. Oh brother, way to be obvious. So the speedrunner takes their spoils of war and they equip their full netherite armor, opening the chest, finding basically everything you would need to speedrun Minecraft if you're bad at the game. This is so goofy. Then the speedrunner tosses their bread and potatoes into the lava pit like, oh, you know what? I'm too good for you anyways. So the speedrunner begins digging out a hole to build the nether portal in. Even though that wastes tons of time, they could have just built the nether portal without digging out all of those blocks. But on the bright side, at least this guy knows what a rectangle looks like. So they use their fire charge to light the nether portal. And again, I'm just gonna assume you noticed what just happened here. Yeah, going frame by frame, the golden apples are gone and they suddenly have a water bucket. This guy literally has to cheat because he's not good at cheating. Just let that sink in. Well, the speedrunner walks around and they approach a very specific block and they begin breaking it, only to reveal a very, very long hole with water at the bottom of it. And would you look at that? It's the stronghold. And I have to point out how goofy it is that the speedrunner got an advancement for Monster Hunter, but they never got an advancement for, oh, I don't know, finding the stronghold, which essentially means 5 minutes into the speedrun, and that is the first time this player killed a mob. That is just sad. As if this couldn't get any worse, the speedrunner then begins to fill the portal with eyes in the most obscure way possible. 1, 2, 3, 5, 4, 8, 7, 10, 9, 11, 12. Oh my goodness. Do you not know how to count in order? Well, the speedrunner is in the end now, and they actually did get an advancement for that, which is good news. They tried a water bucket clutch onto the end island, and they failed doing so. But the speedrunner just never picks up their water again. Buddy, you made a whole elaborate series of cuts just to give yourself that water bucket. And for what? To fail the water bucket clutch? But here's the thing. They actually turn around as if like, oh, I need my water. And then they change their mind again, forgetting that they just put a block on the water source, getting rid of it. Well, when in the end, the speedrunner attempts shooting 2 of the end crystals with their bow and arrow, missing both of them. And then they suddenly start building the structure and digging down. Wait, hang on a second. What's going on here? Yeah, if I go frame by frame, the speedrunner suddenly has 31 more experience points, 2 less cooked chickens, 3 less golden apples, and a partridge in a pear tree. Yeah, who am I kidding? The Ender Dragon's health bar is gone. When the speedrunner digs up to the surface, there is just a pool of bath water hanging out on the end island. What is that? The Ender Dragon's jacuzzi? I don't know. And what really happened here? I don't know if we'll ever find out. Wait, yes, we will find out. Before the speedrunner enters the end game portal, they look up, and what in tarnation happened up there? Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Buddy really built the transcontinental railroad on the top of the end island. And yes, just like that, the speedrunner beat the game in, I guess 7 minutes and 12 seconds. But if you factor in all the cuts and all the lost footage, it was probably about 3 hours. This speedrun, oh brother, you are in for a treat. Their Minecraft skin is a sheep with sunglasses and a businessman suit. Who is this, Jay Schlatt playing? Their timer is literally humongous. It is a monstrosity on the screen. And they have a stick. This is very promising. Right off the bat, the speedrunner goes up to a tree, they break it, getting 1 oak log, then they make a crafting table and they put it down. But as soon as they put that crafting table down, it says set on game mode to survival. And when they turn around, there's just 256 oak logs hanging out behind them. How convenient. So the speedrunner makes a wooden pickaxe and a wooden sword, and now they're just in creative mode, literally floating around. And then if I go frame by frame, their timer just jumps up by 15 seconds for no particular reason. And then directly after that, there is a sudden cut where they're just in front of a village. So what I think they were doing is that their timer is actually a video that they're cutting, but they just didn't make the cuts at the same time. I don't know. So the speedrunner suddenly puts themselves back into survival mode after by accident taking 2 screenshots. Then they go into this villager house. And of course, there is another cut. Guys, I know this speedrun is fake, but the end of it is just so ridiculous I had to show it to you. Yeah, in the chest, there's full netherite armor, full netherite tools, whoop-de-doo-dah. The speedrunner is then just in spectator mode. Oh my goodness, do you have no shame? They put themselves into survival mode, then they're in creative mode, and then yeah, the speedrunner says they found this really cool glitch where you're able to find nether portals instantly.
But I found this really cool glitch. It allows you to basically find nether portals like almost instantly.
That is followed by a very sudden cut where they just built a nether portal in front of them and lit it. Yeah, what a cool glitch, buddy. So the speedrunner is now in the nether, at which point the speedrunner begins typing a /locate command, followed by another sudden cut. The chat log says that they were teleported to these coordinates. They're in front of a nether fortress now, but honestly, this speedrunner's video recording software is so bad, it is so dark you cannot see a single thing. In a nutshell, the speedrunner whacks at 2 blaze rods in creative mode. There's another cut, and then they just drop a bunch of blaze rods in creative mode. I mean, this is just so shamelessly fake. But wait until you see the end. The speedrunner uses a /give command to give themselves eyes of ender. The speedrunner is still in creative mode. They are building a nether portal. This guy does not understand what a rectangle is, like many other fake speedrunners. Buddy, that is a square. When the speedrunner returns to the overworld, they find themselves in the same forest that Herobrine might inhabit. What in tarnation? This speedrunner is 5 minutes into their run, and a professional speedrunner would have probably beaten the game by now. But this goofy goober is locating the stronghold with commands and teleporting themselves to it. They are in spectator mode, and they are still unable to find the portal room. This is just so hilarious. So they fill the portal with eyes. I am honestly not surprised that they haven't died tried in creative mode yet. This guy would probably find a way to do that. Well, when in the end, the speedrunner has the F3 screen plastered all over their video, on top of their monstrosity of a timer, and underneath all of that garbage, you can see a lot of TNT. Yeah, this goober spawned in 22,000 blocks of TNT, nearly crashing their computer, and they still did not kill the Ender Dragon. And yeah, just like that, the speedrunner beat the game in a world record. Well, hang on a second. Their timer stopped at 9 minutes and 12 seconds, but they did not enter the portal yet. Then their game freezes, and you can hear the speedrunner say this.
Wait, what's going on?
Yeah, there is a flash of light, the speedrunner's timer is gone, and they have been brought to the dark dimension to face off with Dormammu. I don't know what is happening here. Nope, never mind, that's not Dormammu, that is the speedrun master. And this terrifying entity decides whether or not speedruns are legitimate. Yeah, well, the speedrun master deemed this speedrun fake, and I guess the speedrunner will not be able to escape their fate, which is being banished to eternal torture. Yeah, the speedrunner literally wakes up in a prison cell with skull and bones, and when they turn around, it's just a video of a cat bobbing his head back and forth. I guess if you don't like cats, that's considered torture? I don't know. Anyways, I just thought this one was ridiculously goofy, so I wanted to show it to you. This speedrunner spawns in the middle of a forest with a lava pool next to him. Holy cow. And would you look at that, they turn around and there's a village in front of them. Very, very lucky. So the speedrunner breaks the window of a villager house, jumping in, opening a chest, and finding very, very good loot. But before they can even take all of the loot, they get punched out of the window by a villager. So after being caught red-handed, the speedrunner resorts to breaking a tree. They make a crafting table, using their iron ingots to make an iron bucket, and they collect some water with it. Then, with just so much skill, the speedrunner begins crafting a nether portal. They break some gravel and get a flint, and just like that, they light their nether portal and enter the nether. And this speedrunner is very, very lucky. They spawn into the nether right outside of a fortress. So the speedrunner starts bridging over to a blaze spawner until a ghast shoots a fireball at them. The speedrunner panics, and they get knocked off of their bridge. But it's okay, not all is lost. The speedrunner is still alive. Yep, nope, never mind. He is dead. He is out like a light. The speedrunner wakes up in the overworld right next to the great Master Oogway, at which point Master Oogway says something very, very inspirational. Noodles. Nah, I'm just kidding. He actually says some very inspirational things. At which point we realize it was just the speedrunner up in his own head, having some flashbacks, and he gets up and dusts off the dust, and the speedrunner picks himself back up. Suddenly, the speedrunner taps into his training from Master Oogway, and he harnesses the power of the ghast to destroy all of the Endermen and destroy the ghasts. The speedrunner picks up those Ender Pearls, and then they start climbing up the Nether Fortress, literally performing Kung Fu on these blazes. So after getting as many blaze rods as the speedrunner needs, they craft Eyes of Ender. And now that they're in the overworld, they locate the stronghold, entering the portal room and filling the portal with eyes. But hang on a second, why does the speedrunner only have cookies and rockets? Yeah, the speedrunner just launches themselves all over the end, breaking all of the end crystals until their rockets run out and they are forced to do a water bucket clutch, at which point you will not believe what the speedrunner does to destroy the Ender Dragon. It is amazing. And yeah, just like that, the speedrunner beat Minecraft in a world record 3 minutes and 8 seconds. I cannot believe it. This speedrun starts off, and I already have anxiety about it. There's a ton of stuff going on the bottom right of the screen. Bats screeching, slime squishing. They just put themselves into survival mode. I'm sorry, but how many villagers are just trapped in that well ahead of them? On top of all of that, what in tarnation is that floating in the sky? I have so many questions, and don't worry, they're all gonna be answered. Well, the speedrunner enters this blacksmith house, and they get 2 diamonds, an iron chestplate, and an iron sword. The speedrunner stops to type in the chat box, "Wow, so rare." Nope, never mind, they correct it, rare. But then they delete it again and misspell it on the 3rd try. What in tarnation? They open up another chest, and they get some saplings, some bread, a saddle, some obsidian. Very rare indeed. Things just continue to get worse. In front of them is the most goofy looking ruined nether portal I have ever seen, right next to just an end portal hanging out in front of them. Yeah, it's just sitting there. At which point the speedrunner starts typing in chat, OMG, 1 in 100 million. They open up the ruined nether portal chest, finding a golden sword with looting 255 and 16 ender pearls. And you know what? I'm gonna be honest, I have been so distracted by all of this goofiness that I just realized, is this a super flat world? Well, as soon as the speedrunner enters the nether, they are in the middle of a lava lake lake, but right next to them is a blaze spawn. And the speedrunner points this out by typing the spawner glitched. Buddy, how in the world does a glitch explain this? Well, yeah, the speedrunner attempts fighting these blaze while their game is running at a solid 3 frames per second, at which point they just die, respawning underneath. I don't even know what I'm looking at right now. The speedrunner goes into creative mode, and now I realize, did they spawn a deep dark city above ground? I am so confused. Yep, that is in fact a deep dark city. And after about 30 seconds of being in creative mode, they finally type in chat, OMG, I just got given creative mode by Notch. They're back in the nether, collecting all of the items they dropped when they died, and their game is back at a solid 3 frames per second. This goofy goober is wasting so much time typing a /give command to get a golden sword with the enchantment Etet. I have no idea what Etet is. Someone help me out here. I am losing my mind. The speedrunner starts typing, what? Why did it work? And then they give themselves 64 blaze rods and full netherite armor. OMG, Notch just gave me netherite. Buddy, you know we can see you in creative mode, right? The speedrunner starts typing in chat, the pearls in all caps. Then they just give themselves pearls in creative mode, putting themselves back into survival mode. They craft blaze powder, they craft eyes of ender, and they fill this portal and enter the end. So the real question is, there is like 5 more minutes left of the speedrun. This guy is cheating out of the wazoo. How does it take him 5 minutes to beat the game? Well, I'll tell you, the speedrunner starts typing, aha, there it is, followed by them giving themselves an elytra and 64 rockets and 64 enchanted golden apples. What is this ridiculously blatant cheating? Yeah, and just like that, the speedrunner beat the game. Listen, I know this one is so clearly fake. It was just ridiculously goofy. This speedrun is funny. This speedrun is fake. It's also gonna be the most infuriating experience of your entire life. They are in creative mode, and I am trying to figure out why at the top right of their screen it says remaining time an hour and a half. There is only one way we're gonna find out. The speedrunner climbs up this snowy mountain. They go back down, opening up the chat log, showing a lot of nonsense. Locating a village, teleporting themselves, suffocating in a wall, giving themselves a diamond sword, screenshotting by accident, keep inventory is on, setting the world spawn, giving themselves a tropical fish. What in tarnation? They've already been in the end? Alright, I am really on the edge of my seat now. They put themselves back into survival mode and climb back up this snowy mountain, at which point they enter a blacksmith house, and inside is a sign on the wall above a very obvious hole that says dig down random person. Again, what in tarnation? They open up the chest in front of them, and inside is a diamond sword, a tropical fish with the enchantment sharpness 255, and netherite boots. So they equip their new boots holding this enchanted tropical fish, and they just say, you know what, to heck with it, I'm gonna go down this hole. At the bottom of this hole is very clearly the end portal, and it's lit. And you know what, maybe it's a 1 in a billion chance of this actually happening, but let's just give them the benefit of the doubt here. They spawn into the end, but their momentum carries into the next dimension, and they die from fall damage. So the speedrunner respawns, at which point it is revealed that they are playing Minecraft demo mode. Ladies and gentlemen, this is gonna be the first Minecraft world record in demo mode. Guinness, get the plaque ready. Well, the speedrunner still has their inventory, so they go back up the mountain, back down into the hole. They by accident fall on a ledge, so back down the hole, and they die again. This has to be a joke. So the speedrunner respawns, and before they go back down that hole, they start breaking an oak plank. Text pops up on the screen saying big brain. I don't know what they are planning, and I don't think they know what they're planning either. They put the oak plank down, they stand on top of it, and now they're breaking it. So they break the oak plank, they never get an opportunity to pick it back up again, and they just fall right back down the hole, dying again. There is a goofy Windows Movie Maker effect on the screen, and the speedrunner is typing into the chat box a command that will give them resistance, which I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that is not gonna do a single thing. Lather, rinse, repeat here, fellas. Back up the mountain, back down the hole, tropical fish, and wait a second, I'm actually pretty surprised here. They survive. So yeah, just like that, the speedrunner is now in the end with 1 hour and 20 minutes left, which should be just enough time for them to beat the Ender Dragon. And they're gonna need all the time they can get, because they waste so many minutes just staring down at Endermen, provoking them, and then using the tropical fish on them. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The speedrunner uses this tropical fish to defeat the Ender Dragon, and they beat the game in demo mode. I honestly thought this speedrun was just so stupid. I had to show it to you. This speedrun, everything seems very normal. Nope, never mind. What in the world are they spawning into? Yeah, they say wrong world, and then there's just a sudden cut into the next loading screen.
Oh shit, wrong world.
So the speedrunner spawns into the correct world in a village, very lucky, but hang on a second here. They don't have a full hunger bar. So this is clearly fake. Oh, and man, what kind of sounds is the speedrunner making in their microphone? That is nasty. Well, they walk forward, entering a village house, and inside there is some believable loot. Yeah, the math checks out. This chest could be legitimate. So they get a diamond pickaxe, iron ingots, 12 obsidian, an iron sword, some bread. Things are off to a very legitimate and kind of suspicious start. The speedrunner then proceeds to massacre the villagers in front of them. I don't know why. I think I spoke too soon because the speedrunner proceeds to scream into his microphone, followed by a very sudden cut. Just watch this.
Resolution. Alright, okay.
Yeah, the speedrunner is in a completely different spot, and now they start breaking the wood in front of them. There's another cut, and all of a sudden they have stacks of wood in their inventory. They open another chest, getting more iron, an iron helmet, more bread. The speedrunner then proceeds to use their iron bucket, and they just stop everything they're doing and just stand there like a goofy goober. And if you listen to their microphone, what in tarnation did he just say?
I just hit my balls.
Yeah, after that information that no one needed to hear, there's another cut, and the speedrunner is now in a duel with the Iron Golem, which leads to them dying to the Iron Golem. There is another sudden cut. They have everything back in their inventory, and I guess the speedrun must go on. The speedrunner is this close to dying to the Iron Golem again until he bribes the Iron Golem with Chipotle. What in tarnation?
Yo, I'll buy you Chipotle, okay?
Somehow he does kill the golem though. Good for them. So the speedrunner creates their nether portal, lighting it and entering the end. And holy cow, the speedrunner gets very unlucky, then very lucky. As soon as they spawn into the nether, they're just getting blasted by ghasts and they are on fire. So they run away and they manage to survive with half a heart left. How lucky. And their reaction to that series of events is just so goofy. Things just get so much worse though. With literally 2 hearts left and no food, the speedrunner decides to just do all this crazy extreme parkour that they are not going to survive. And as soon as the speedrunner dies, there's some sort of weird video edit where the speedrunner is just muttering under their breath, "Life could be dream, life could be dream." And suddenly we are back to the speedrun. They're back in the nether like nothing ever happened. This is such a fever dream. By some miracle, the speedrunner is still alive. Still though, I don't get it. This speedrunner is just like a cat thinking he has 9 lives. The goal here in a speedrun is to find a fortress, find a bastion, but instead they decide to do this crazy bone meal clutch, and holy cow, they actually do it. The downside to this is that they clutched onto a platform that is full of aggressive piglins. The speedrunner gets hit off a ledge, and then before they can even die, there is another cut. What in tarnation? The speedrunner has a freak out in their microphone. It happens a second time, and on the third time when the Enderman teleports, there is this ridiculous cut with ender pearls all over the ground. What in tarnation?
Let's go! Yes! Pearls!
I don't know what just happened there. The speedrunner got very excited about how many ender pearls were just hanging out on the ground, and they by accident put a bed down, killing themselves. Then there is another sudden cut where they're just in a nether fortress. I have so many questions. Again, the speedrunner says, "I just need some blazes." They turn around, there's a blaze. I gotta put this in slow-mo. The speedrunner kills that blaze, and then there is this ridiculous cut with blaze rods on the ground in front of them, even though the blaze they just killed didn't drop a single rod. It's at this point where the speedrunner just needs to locate their nether portal to return to the end. Unfortunately though, they find themselves with 2 hearts and they're killed by a ghast. They respawn back into the overworld with all of their items still in their inventory, so they must have turned keep inventory on at some point. But even though they respawned into the nether, there's another cut. The items in their hotbar changes. I am so thoroughly confused. The speedrunner must have crafted an Eye of Ender behind the scenes cutscenes. They throw it up, it goes up into the air, and then you can hear them say, yes, it goes down.
Let's see it. Yes, it goes down.
Buddy, it went up. It did not go down. So they begin digging down. And while the speedrunner is digging down, I just realized they have their position coordinates displayed at the top left of their screen, which is literally like holding up a flag, putting a target on his head saying, I am a cheater. Genuinely, I'm not even sure what's going on here anymore. They are digging down for such a long time until there is a very sudden cut. And if we look back at that position coordinate at the top left, you can see that they actually had to dig back up. They were at Y39, now they're at Y58. They literally dug down too far and had to cut it out of the speedrun. This is embarrassing. Nope, never mind, because the portal that they found is just some goofy thing that they constructed. This is not a real stronghold. Sorry to burst your bubble. They cut out the loading screen. Again, another cut. Holy cow, their game audio is so loud, headphone users be warned. The dragon literally sounds like a nuclear bomb exploding. At this point, I have so many questions. The speedrunner is using some sort of ancient taekwondo methods on the dragon. They're throwing snowballs at its head. What in the world is going on? They drop lava on its head. They put a bed down. It disappears. Their plan is not going well. So they put their final bed down, exploding everything in proximity, and they die. At which point, they have a freak out in their microphone, and the speedrun is over. What in tarnation? This speedrun starts off and everything seems very normal. I don't know what it is, but the intro is very nostalgic with the Minecraft piano and this super low quality microphone.
Okay, my new speedrun world.
The speedrunner starts off and everything is looking very normal. They spawn in a birch forest, they turn around and oh, would you look at that? It's a ruined nether portal. How lucky are they? Nope, hang on a second. That is not a ruined nether portal. Just listen to what this goober is saying.
Oh, no way! No way! For the new 1.20 update, they added a new trial ruined nether portal.
Okay, so they found the trial ruined nether portal, the newest 1.21 update. I'm a little out of the loop here, but I guess this is a new update. They open up the chest, they find a breeze rod, a heavy core, obsidian, golden chest plate, and it sounds weird to say, but yeah, a breeze rod is now a part of the game. So the speedrunner does craft the mace, one of the new, legitimate Minecraft weapons. And yeah, blah blah blah. They got enough obsidian to fill the portal, light it, and enter the nether. Everything is looking very normal here. The nether loading screen looks good, they spawn in, everything looks good until they turn around. What in tarnation is that? Yeah, according to the speedrunner, after their freak out, they call this the new Basalt Village. Can someone do a fact check? Is this actually a new update to 1.21? And I just need to point out, I love the fact that they are going so far to act for this, that they have the courtesy of opening the gate and closing it behind them. So they enter this Basalt Village house, opening the ender chest, finding full netherite gear. How convenient. And their reaction is just ridiculous.
No way, a blacksmith! Oh my god!
After they discover this amazing loot, they waste like a whole minute reorganizing their inventory. This is just ridiculous. They enter another building, which according to them is supposed to be the blacksmith or weaponsmith equivalent, and they call it the totem smith. But the villager in the totem smith house is literally a farmer. The speedrunner opens up the chests, revealing a bunch of totems of undying, more totems of undying, and seeds?
The wheat seed, the rarest item in the game.
I have no idea why this speedrunner is freaking out about seeds. Can someone help me to understand here? There are a lot of new features here. The vault garden with 64 trial keys in a chest. Okay, hold it right here. Hear me out. This is actually a very creative and silly way of cheating. I'm just gonna put that out there. Alright, enough of this nonsense. The speedrunner enters into the end portal. Whether this is legitimate or not, I have no idea. Never mind, I take that back. They spawn into the end and there are blocks leading to the end island. This is not legitimate. And if you thought this couldn't get any worse, it does. The speedrunner is doing all of this goofy parkour. They have a minecart track that leads into the end portal. The dragon is dead. They're saying trick shot in their microphone, but they miss. They don't get into the minecart. And yeah, just like that, they beat the game. This was such a ridiculous speedrun. They're yapping in their microphone about how this is record time, but buddy, there is no timer on your screen. This speedrun Gordon is Gordon Ramsay? What? Yep, Gordon Ramsay spawns in a jungle forest. He is climbing up a tree. This man is a maniac. He gets this apple from the top of the tree, eats it, talks about how juicy it is, and then suddenly, don't ask me how, Gordon must have been in creative mode. He gets into a helicopter. Is he using mods? This is just shameless. Well, Gordon lands into a village. He probably needs beds to kill the dragon, right? Gordon steals a potato from a villager. Then all of a sudden, Gordon is going crazy. He travels down into a ravine by rope. Is rope even a thing in Minecraft? I can't believe that this guy is going into creative mode like this. And then all of a sudden, just like that, he finds himself in the stronghold. Come on, cutting footage out of your speedrun? Nope, never mind. It is not the stronghold. I have never actually seen this structure in Minecraft before. He finds a chest in this structure that has rotten flesh in it. He begins eating it. Gordon is so desperate, getting very, very sick. At this rate, he is not gonna get the world record. Don't ask me why, but he returns back to the village. Very strange speedrunning choice. He's crafting food, villagers and illagers are going at it, and then Gordon just flees the scene and runs away. Probably one of the worst speedruns I have ever seen in my entire life. Gordon Ramsay, you are an idiot sandwich. The way this speedrun starts off is just so goofy, but yeah, the speedrunner starts their Walmart Great Value-esque timer. They switch tabs going into Minecraft. The speedrunner says that they just started a new Minecraft world, but come on, they are selecting the last slot on their hotbar. There is a chest just hanging out in the middle of nowhere. There's rotten flesh on the ground. Buddy, you clearly have played on this world before. And I think the worst foul here of all is the fact that they are using a tablet to play the game. Usually, I would not include a speedrun like this in my videos because it is just infuriating to watch someone play on a tablet, but this one is just so ridiculous I had to show you. Well, anyways, they approach the ruined nether portal. They open up the chest, literally unable to click on the chest. This is what I mean. Inside, netherite tools, netherite gear, enchanted golden apples. What in tarnation? And their overhyped reaction followed by silence as they slowly bring the items from the chest into the inventory is so goofy.
Oh my god, it's another right armor!
They spend so much time organizing their inventory and then they waste even more time bringing the obsidian into their hotbar. This is just so painful to watch. Even their Minecraft skin has like drool all over his face. The speedrunner puts 2 obsidian blocks down, but in order to fill in the portal in the top part of it, they need to get more blocks. So they try breaking this netherrack, but they don't have a pickaxe. Despite all this cheating, they're unable to pick up any block at all. So they backtrack, picking up some dirt, literally unable to jump over a block of water. They get back to the portal. They put the dirt block down and it's not helping them. They can't even jump onto the dirt block they just put down. So they go back over the water, getting another dirt block. And what in the world? I just noticed now. How long has that end portal been there in the distance? They get another dirt block. They go back to the portal. They literally are having difficulty jumping onto this block. And by some miracle, they do complete the nether portal. There's just one problem. They don't have flint and steel. So they turn around and gee, I wonder what this chest is doing all the way over there hanging out alone, all dressed up with nowhere to go. At which point the speedrunner vocally says, what is that chest over there? They open it up and there is no flint and steel, just ender pearls and blaze rods. And if you listen to their microphone, they don't even know what an Eye of Ender is. Listen to what they are saying.
Oh my god! Yes! I can make ender, ender, Eye of Ender.
At the speed of a snail, the speedrunner crafts blaze powder, Eyes of Ender, and then they slowly turn around and go, wait, is that the...
Wait, is that the ender? Whoa.
They don't even know what the portal is called. So all of this begs the question. If their goal was just to use this end portal hanging out in the middle of nowhere, what was the point of wasting all of my time going back and forth for the dirt block? And then again, at the speed of a snail, this goober is filling the portal with eyes. They enter the end. Unfortunately, as soon as they enter the end, they spawned underground in the end island, which means they need a pickaxe. And they're so bad at cheating that they didn't think that far ahead. At which point the speedrunner says this.
Okay, I have to go to the bathroom, guys. I'll be back.
At which point there is an awkward silence and a very sudden cut where the speedrunner suddenly has all this experience points and the dragon's health bar is just gone. The speedrunner's reaction to what happened, something they clearly did, is so fake. This is literally worse acting than a CW TV show. And yeah, just like that, the dragon is gone. They jump into the portal. They beat the game. I guess their timer malfunctioned and it said 0.3 seconds. And again, their reaction is just so goofy.
0.3 milliseconds? That's a new record. I bet Dream is so jealous of me right now. Oh my.
This speedrun has these goofy text animations on the screen. That is not a good sign. Their world legitimately takes forever to load, but when it does load, we are greeted by the world's most ginormous joystick overlay. Oh brother, are they playing on an iPad? Wow, so lucky. The speedrunner spawns at an angle right in front of a blacksmith. Hang on a second though, why are they walking away? Oh, never mind. They go back to the blacksmith, entering the house, opening the chest, finding the world's goofiest items of all time. Enchanted elytra? What in tarnation? A spyglass, tridents, that silly little turtle cap. But the speedrunner only takes the shield, the elytra, and the fireworks. What in tarnation? Wait, did they just go in a full circle? Nope, hang on, never mind. They exit that blacksmith house and enter another blacksmith house right next to it. I don't even think this is possible. Guys, I could have missed an update, but I thought it was usually one blacksmith per village. Correct me if I'm wrong. Well, they opened this chest, and how convenient. They get full netherite gear and 64 levers. I have no idea what they are gonna do with those levers. I kid you not, this has to be some sort of practical joke. I am being punked right now. They enter a third blacksmith house. I know this is not possible. They open the chest, more goofy, ridiculous, unrealistic fake items. Why would anyone need this many diamond blocks? I don't know. But the speedrunner really shows off their skill and agility by just wasting so much time, being unable to organize blocks in their inventory. This is laughable. The next few moments is just such a what in tarnation kind of moment. I have so many questions. They go into another villager house with their stacks and stacks of netherite ingots, only to upgrade their diamond gear to netherite. Buddy, you put the most unrealistic items in these chests. Why didn't you just, oh, I don't know, give yourself netherite gear in the first place? Upgrading diamond to netherite is not gonna make this look legitimate. With their very legitimate and newly found all netherite gear, they approach this iron golem, just spam clicking the crap out of it, and they're so good they don't even need the iron ingots. Yeah, you show them who's boss, buddy. The madness does not end though. They enter another blacksmith house. How is this possible? And inside, command blocks. Oh my goodness. The text on the screen says, wow, for blacksmiths. Buddy, just my 2 cents. Learn how to cheat at speedrunning and learn how to spell. And I just noticed now, holy cow, there is a ruined nether portal in the distance. Someone tell me, what seed is this? I refuse to believe that this is a real legitimate seed. They approach the ruined nether portal. Everything's looking good. You know what? Maybe they can redeem themselves here. But they open the chest and they were so blatantly obvious. Smack dab in the middle of the screen. So much gold, so much obsidian. These next few moments just get worse. This has to be some of the most inefficient speedrunning strategies I've ever seen in my entire life. Wait a second, why are they walking away from the ruined nether portal? Yeah, they're getting flint in the most inefficient and slow way possible. I would be more entertained watching paint dry. Then they waste all this time returning to where they killed the iron golem to get the iron. Why you didn't pick it up in the first place, I don't know. Returning back to the nether portal, filling it in and lighting it. So the speedrunner enters the nether and there is literally nothing here. It is barren. Until there is a hilarious and shamefully obvious cut. The speedrunner's walking around like, oh yeah, nothing's different here. They get a notification for WKRG news. What is that? I have no idea. Buddy, you're speedrunning. Just disable the notifications. And they find a barrel. The icing on the cake is how they move their screen around like, whoa, oh my goodness, what? Inside this barrel, 16 ender pearls. How convenient. Well, I guess the speedrunner just doesn't need blaze rods because they literally leave the nether. I honestly would not be surprised if they had to return back to the nether because they realize, oh, whoops, I need blaze rods. Nope, never mind. I just noticed something. Do you notice it? When did the speedrunner get 2 stacks of of blaze powder? I have no idea. I'm gonna have to rewind this and figure out when that happened. Well, they make their eyes of Ender, throwing one up in the sky. The speedrunner gets another notification for a 6-day countdown timer. Yeah, you're gonna need that timer with how slow you're speedrunning this game. The speedrunner picks a completely arbitrary and random block to dig down into and just, oh, I don't know, take a wild guess what's about to happen. Yeah, they dug down maybe, what, 10 blocks? And they're suddenly just in the portal room. This guy may be slow as molasses, but he has pretty good memory. Again, I'd have to rewind and see if there was like a flower on the ground that indicated to them that's where they dig down. So the speedrunner fills the end portal with eyes. Wait a second, why are they building back up? And why did they get a notification for cutest puppies city? These puppies are so adorable. See what they are doing, cute puppies. Well, now I'm kind of curious. I kind of want to watch the cute puppies. All right, guys, it's been an hour. I got kind of distracted by the cute puppies, but we're back to the speedrun. And drum roll, please. You are never gonna believe it. The reason the speedrunner returned to the surface was for a command block. What in tarnation? Boom, another notification. Whoever in the world Chef BB is, they made a delicious fruit juice. Oh, brother. I do not care about fruit juice. I just want to see the speedrun. Another notification. Space chip colonized Mars and spaceflight simulator. This is not important. The speedrunner again shows off their extreme agility and skill, being a total goofy goober digging down, and they jump into the end portal, entering the end. And the story really goes full circle here. With no shame whatsoever, the speedrunner puts themselves into creative mode, putting their command block down and getting those levers from earlier. Oh my gosh, I thought I'd never find out what the levers were for. Even though I'm pretty sure you don't need a lever to make a command block work, but I am thoroughly surprised. This has to be the one and only speedrunner who actually knows how to use a /kill command. So they put their lever down, activating the command block, beating the game. Even though they did not need to go into creative mode for any of that. Well, they're back in a survival mode. They are bridging to the end island in the slowest and most painful way possible. Again, I really think we could just put in paint drying on the screen and we'd be more entertained than the speedrun. The speedrunner puts in all this energy and they almost die. I guarantee they have already wasted 5 minutes just trying to build over to the end island. Again, this has to be someone trying to prank me. Is this real? This speedrun, oh brother, you are in for a treat. It starts off showing off emotes. What in tarnation? What timeline are we living in? Does Minecraft have emotes now? The speedrunner spawns in a village. They're selecting the third slot. They already have experience points. There is a diamond shrine in front of them, and there is something going on the left side of the screen. There is only one way we're gonna find out what in tarnation is happening here. They approach this very inconspicuous diamond shrine, and underneath it is a chest with a sign that says stuff. Very original. And inside, oh yeah, there's lots of stuff. Full netherite armor and gear. Just so many diamond blocks. Why would you even need that? And a water bucket. Only the essentials. Oh man, the sword is called the Incredible Amazing Sword. Very original. And after the speedrunner gears up with their newly found legitimate loot, they approach whatever in the world this is. They enter this thing, and inside there is endstone on the ground, a pig confined behind iron bars with what appears to be a recreation of the end with a 10-cent budget. I kid you not, the next series of events are so goofy. The speedrunner climbs up to this end crystal. I am air quoting, I know you can't see me. He is unable to break the end crystal, at which point he starts using his sword and destroys the entire Hollywood set. This is a shame. This is the same set they were going to use for the Minecraft movie. What are we going to do now? The speedrunner builds back up, does a water bucket clutch for like 3 blocks down, breaking the iron bars, revealing that the pig confined behind them is the boss. Again, this speedrunner has so much originality. The speedrunner defeats the boss, exiting the end, and in front of them are 2 signs that just say, "The game you beat." They proceed to just stare into the camera and rotate endlessly. I just thought this one was stupid, that's all. This speedrun truly is a breath of fresh air. Everything looks normal, except for this atrocious texture pack they are using. Dude, your hunger bar looks like corn dogs. Anyways, I'm not gonna complain because finally, the speedrun starts off normal for once. That is until there's like this hyperspeed video effect applied. There is no cut, so it's like, is this guy speedrunning as the Flash? I don't know. There wasn't a cut, so it's technically not cheating. The speedrun footage is sped up again. What in tarnation? And then they do actually find a ruined nether portal. The cheating just progressively gets worse. There is a sudden cut, and now we're just at the ruined nether portal. The speedrunner opens up the chest, and things do look normal. A fire charge, a golden apple, some obsidian, a golden sword, a golden helmet. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think all this stuff looks pretty normal. Now at this point, you might expect the speedrunner to, oh, I don't know, fill in the ruined nether portal, light it with the fire charge, and enter the nether, right? Nope, wrong. The footage is sped up. They use their fire charge on the sheep, killing it to get cooked meat. So they pick up the cooked mutton until there is another cut. And after this cut, if you look to the bottom of the screen, what in tarnation is that obsidian doing on the ground? They still have 4 blocks of obsidian left over. So why is there just 1 obsidian hanging out on the ground? Well, you're about to find out very soon. They go back up the mountain, picking up an obscene amount of cooked mutton. Who is speedrunning the game right now? Queso? The speedrunner by accident puts down one of their obsidian blocks, wasting it. Then they start breaking down this tree, getting 4 oak logs, and there is another painfully obvious cut. After the cut, the speedrunner turns around, and wow, how convenient would you look at that? As many oak logs as you could possibly imagine. Gee, it's not like I haven't seen that one before. Real original. I am genuinely so confused. The speedrunner is running so far away from that ruined nether portal. They pick up some lilac, making magenta dye. Then they start throwing the magenta dye all around them in a circle. Now keep in mind, this speedrun does not have any audio, but I imagine if they had a microphone and we could hear it, it would be like that ridiculously goofy scene from episode 3 of The Acolyte. Well, the speedrunner must be performing some sort of incantation or chant or ritual, because there is another sudden cut, and their 3 obsidian turns into 64. How convenient. From this point onward, the speedrun is actually so mind-numbingly boring. Again, we could just swap this video with something like paint drying, and you really would not be able to tell the difference. I am giving you the highlights here. The speedrunner goes underwater, trying to dig up gravel. Have you never played Minecraft before? The footage is sped up, at which point they just put the block down, break it again, and finally they get some flint. There is another sudden cut. I genuinely have no idea what is different now. I'm honestly kind of scared. Hang on a second, did you just see that? They just broke some grass and there is iron on the ground. So yeah, just like that, the speedrunner has iron for flint and steel. So naturally, they begin creating their nether portal. Ooh, yikes. Don't worry, you could buff those scratches out. Nope, never mind, you are not gonna buff that scratch out. Well, luckily the speedrunner has enough obsidian to spare, so they start building another nether portal. And they're building up, and dude, it does not have to be this high. They do successfully create a nether portal and light it, but oh my goodness, that is just an abomination. Well, now that the speedrunner is in the nether, they just kind of roam around, wasting a lot of time. They by accident throw their sword on the ground, and then this next moment, I am just genuinely confused. I really need your help. Watch this clip and then tell me what in tarnation the speedrunner means. I genuinely cannot see anything wrong or anything happening here. But then the speedrunner just interrupts the footage with text on the screen saying 3 glitches in 1 run XO. What does that mean? 3 glitches? What were the glitches here? If you thought things could not get worse and even more confusing, they do. The speedrunner just wastes so much time placing obsidian blocks into lava in the most random way possible. They throw their golden apple into the lava, and there is this shamelessly obvious cut where the speedrunner suddenly has full diamond gear. So like, what am I missing here? Was that the glitch? If you want to know how I'm feeling right now, it's XO. Things just get so much worse. The speedrunner wastes so much time trying to traverse the nether. They're doing parkour with oak logs. That is literally like playing with fire. Can someone put on like circus music or like bad flute recorder music to the footage of them doing parkour like a goofball? While the speedrunner is exploring the nether like this, they fall into a pit of lava. At which point, I kid you not, I didn't do this edit. The speedrunner just put in this like 20-second montage of what appears to be a brain blast from Jimmy Neutron. We go back to the footage of Minecraft. They somehow don't die. And okay, we're back to traversing the nether. Wait a second, why did they stop bridging? There is another painfully obvious cut. And what in the world? They applied jump boost? This is not a good idea. Just put on the bad flute music already. Yeah, the speedrunner is jumping like hundreds of blocks high. This cannot be real. I refuse to believe that this is a speedrun that was submitted to speedrun.com. They fall back into the lava, they die, but there is literally 10 minutes left of the speedrun footage. What more could happen? Well, the speedrunner respawns, they are back in the overworld, and they have nothing. They waste a lot of time just picking up flowers, which really does not make a lot of sense to me because what in tarnation would anyone do with that many dandelions? I'm sorry, did this guy just craft a blaze rod from dandelions? This is the most ridiculous Walmart level speedrun I have ever seen. It literally is just a PNG of a blaze rod, and then there is this painfully obvious cut where the overlay picture disappears and they just suddenly have 64 blaze rods. You really had us there for a second. There is another cut. The speedrunner clearly has given themselves some sort of status effect. And you know what? Why don't you just see it for yourself? Tell me if you notice what is wrong with these next few moments. Wow. Holy moly, that Enderman really dropped a lot of ender pearls. How convenient. So the speedrunner crafts 48 eyes of ender. Why so many? I don't know. Maybe they're just so good that they're gonna enter the end multiple times. Nope, never mind. I take back what I said. They just spam so many eyes of ender into the sky. For literally 5 seconds, the speedrunner follows the path of the eyes of ender until there is another cut. It's daytime and the chat history says played sound lightning bolt thunder. And oh yeah, they're in creative mode. So boom, there's another cut. We're back in survival. We are so back. No, we are not so back. They have an elytra. What in tarnation? The speedrunner is flying in the sky using their elytra. There was another cut. They're playing more lightning bolt thunder sounds, but this speedrun just has no audio to it, so I can only imagine what's really happening. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, they're in creative mode again. Nope, never mind. There's another cut. They're back in survival, and they have all these rockets, all this gear, at which point, I kid you not, the footage goes into hyperdrive mode, and this goober must have wasted 30 minutes trying to locate the stronghold. Finally, though, they catch a break. The eyes of ender are going down into the ground, so they start digging down. And halfway through digging down, they throw another eye of ender to confirm. Buddy, you have only been going straight down. It's not like the portal room changes. Nope, never mind. I take it back. Somehow they dug further down than the stronghold. How do you mess that up? So they dig back up, trying to find the stronghold. There is another cut. The thunder is back. They are in spectator mode. And if we look at the bottom of the screen, you can literally see the portal room at the bottom of the screen. I just think that's so funny. Well, they float on into the stronghold in spectator mode. There's another cut. They are not even trying to hide the fact that they are cheating. It says set on game mode to survival. Buddy, get a new editor. The speedrunner does find the portal room though, so they fill the portal with eyes and they enter the end. They break one end crystal. They head for the next one. They're doing great until they die. And hang on a second, I just noticed now. What does it mean for an enderman to vroop? Is that even an English word? So I kid you not, the speedrunner respawns. They are at their lowest point right now. They open up the chat log. For one single frame, they type a slash, and the next frame, you know it, they have got so many hearts that it is literally obstructing my ability to analyze this speedrun. There is not really much more to it. Someone just put in like, oh, I don't know, more bad flute music, because they are just horrible at using rockets and traversing around to each end crystal. Between them being on fire and all of these hearts on the screen, it's impossible to see what is actually happening right now. All the end crystals are destroyed. The speedrunner is floating around in the sky with the dragon like a goofball, barely able to do any damage. At which point, I kid you not, the speedrunner literally put in this like 10-second clip from God of War. Is that even legal to put in memes into a speedrun on speedrun.com? I don't know. It's very clear that there was a cut. The speedrunner was given strength. They beat the dragon, and instead of, oh, I don't know, completing the speedrun by jumping into the portal, they launched themselves into the void beneath the end island. There's another cut. They give themselves a milk bucket, drinking the milk, and then they die. Cheating or not, they literally didn't even technically beat the game. I honestly thought this speedrun was just so stupid, I had to show it to you. The beginning of this speedrun seems very, very legitimate. Loading screen looks good. They got a timer. They load into their world. They're selecting the first slot, but if we zoom out here, come on. They're not looking straight ahead, which is a major red flag. The speedrunner spawns directly in a village, and they immediately enter one of the houses. Inside, opening a chest, and yeah, it's very clear that the speedrun is fake. What is with fake speedrunners? He cleanly separated the cobblestone evenly into two. So yeah, I'm aware this speedrun is fake. It's just so funny that I had to show it to you. After the speedrunner gets their very legitimate loot, there is a very sudden cut. Even though the timer is exactly the same, they've lost a ton of hunger, and they have 2 hearts. So what in the world happened in between? I don't know. And I'm pretty confused here because they have full diamond gear, why are they going up to this tree and breaking it? And that's when you hear the speedrunner say this.
This is the best tree in the game.
This is the best tree in the game. Well, come on, what are you talking about? Why is this the best tree in the game? Come on, buddy, are you serious? What in tarnation? Yeah, the best tree in the game miraculously dropped obsidian and flint and steel. I think I missed a few updates, guys, I don't know. Well, after the speedrunners encounter with the best tree in the game, they approach this pig and they start hitting it. Until again, there is another abrupt cut with no change to their timer, and when they turn around, there is a stack of cooked chicken in front of them. First off, was 3 pork not enough? Second off, chicken and pig are 2 completely different things. Well, after this strange string of events, the speedrunner then moves on to building their nether portal. But unfortunately, this is just another speedrunner who does not understand the shape of a rectangle. They actually go inside this thing and light it with flint and steel. What in tarnation? And you could hear the speedrunner say this.
Frick, screwed it up again.
Yeah, I screwed it up again. How much time has this guy been wasting building nether portals? Well, there's another cut. It's nighttime. They turn around and they figured out what a rectangle looks like. So they light their nether portal and they enter the end. I mean, the nether. Oops. At which point, there is no loading screen. There's just another abrupt cut. The speedrunner is floating around in the nether like a goofy goober in creative mode, and you can hear him say this.
This isn't cheating. It's just helping out the speedrun.
This isn't cheating. This is just helping out the speedrunner. Buddy, do you think we just blew in from Stupid Town? This is cheating. Well, after wasting tons of time, the speedrunner does find a nether fortress. I'm not sure how the speedrunner does not die to these blaze, because he just stands in front of them point blank and whacks at them like no tomorrow. Has this guy never played Minecraft before? Oh my goodness. By some miracle, they don't die. They get 3 blaze rods, and then they dig underneath the stairs, and they find even more blaze rods hidden away. Oh yeah, this is the handiwork of Mr. Blaze. Yeah, he always hides blaze rods underneath the stairs. Well, anyways, there is another sudden cut. When the speedrunner turns around, there are just tons of piglin hanging out in a hole, just sitting there. And when the speedrunner drops into that hole, they pick up a slew of random items. Gee, I wonder if they have enough ender pearls. Well, that all happened very quickly. So the speedrunner builds another nether portal, and they return to the overworld. But once they are in the overworld, they start talking about triangulation, and now I have anxiety. Considering some of the other fake speedrunners I have seen have no clue what triangulation even means.
Gotta start the epic triangulation strat. Heard if you hyperventilate, it makes you run faster in Minecraft. And we arrived at the stronghold, just like that. 2 minutes on the clock.
And yeah, just like that, the speedrunner found the portal room. What in tarnation? So they fill the portal with eyes, and then they say this.
I've got a little bit of extra eyes of ender.
Yeah, they just have a few extra eyes of ender, just a few. Yeah, just chuck those out, no big deal. Once they are in the end, there is no loading screen. They're in creative mode, and then they provide a very dramatic and fake reaction to being in creative mode, followed by this cinematic music just randomly starts playing.
Yo, wait guys, no way! Dude, there's a new glitch in the game. We can get creative mode when we fight the dragon, dude.
What is with fake speedrunners and this goofy cinematic music? While the speedrunner is just floating around like a goober breaking the end crystals, the cinematic music has a pause. You can very clearly hear that they are just playing 2 music tracks at the same time. It is so goofy.
Let's go. Sub 4 minutes, let's go.
And I'm sorry, but I must be so unobservant. I just noticed now, when did their timer start going backwards? I feel so stupid. Well, it's honestly good news to see that their timer is going backwards, because this guy wastes so much time trying to figure out how to kill the Ender Dragon with a command. It is just sad. And yeah, just like that, the speedrunner beat the game at 3 minutes and 16 seconds. And I honestly just find it so funny how they now have 3 songs playing at the same time. The credit music, this goofy cinematic song, and the stupid dream speedrun music.
I'm so glad. Sub 4 minutes.
Don't let this guy edit your videos, that's all I'm saying. This speedrun starts off and everything seems very normal here, except for the fact that they are hungry. So anything could happen. Beyond that fog could be Herobrine lurking, I don't know. Well, the speedrunner starts breaking this tree in front of them, turning the logs into planks, until the speedrunner starts shaking their head and they just stop. Typing in the chat, guys, I'm a sped broad pro. Can someone translate for me here? I have no idea what this goober is saying, they proceed to attempt speed bridging, failing at it. Now I understand what they were trying to say. OMG God, guys, I'm so good. Yeah, I hate to burst your bubble, but you are not good. The speedrunner makes a crafting table. Then they kindly announce to us in the text box, guys, I'm going to the bathroom. And despite them saying they're going to the bathroom, they start moving forward, at which point there is an extremely sudden cut, and they have a full inventory of tons of items. The speedrunner says all right in the chat box, at which point there is another sudden cut where all of their items are just gone, and the sun is setting. What happened here? I have no idea. There's only one way to find out. Guys, I need to go to the bathroom. Buddy, where I think you need to go is the doctor. Do you have a bladder problem? Well, there is another cut, and the speedrunner says, guys, I'm back. Let's start mining. So the speedrunner puts down their crafting table, and they make a wooden pickaxe. What happened to their diamond tools earlier? I have no idea. So they start mining down into the ground, and they find a chest. OMG, guys. Okay. Now I know where all their diamond tools went. We just won the lottery. Buddy, you just won the lottery. I lost by having to sit through this nonsense. Well, the speedrunner wastes just so much time showing us how bad they are at melee in Minecraft. What in tarnation? Until they say, guys, and just wait for it. Guess what's gonna happen? I need to go to the bathroom again. I am seriously concerned about this speedrunner. I genuinely think we should start a GoFundMe for their medical condition. Excessive pee syndrome. Guys, I'm back. Wait, how's their Eyes of Ender? Yeah, they gave themselves a full stack of Eyes of Ender while they were going to the bathroom. This speedrun is so goofy. They go into creative mode to set the time to day, then they go back into survival mode, and then they realize, wait a second, I'm kinda hungry. So they go back into creative mode, giving themselves 64 cooked steak, and they are back into survival mode. The universe is once again in balance. OMG God, guys, we got food and it's morning. So I'm getting the vibe here that this guy meant to cut all of this nonsense out and they just didn't do it. The speedrunner starts throwing their Eyes of Ender, at which point they go on a 10-year-long expedition to find the stronghold. This goofy goober wastes so much time trying to find the stronghold, at which point there is a very abrupt cut, and the speedrunner looks like they are lodging in the hold of a ship. The speedrunner starts saying, guys, and then they stop typing because they realize they are in creative mode. So there's another cut, they're back in survival, and they say, guys, I'm back, exclamation mark 1, exclamation mark 1. They dig down, revealing they are in the stronghold, and then the speedrunner just does this kind of like flailing screen shake. Now hold your horses here. Before the speedrunner can fill the end portal with eyes and enter the end, they engage in a vicious and grueling battle with a single silverfish. Yep, you cannot make this up. This speedrunner almost died to a single silverfish. This is priceless. Then the speedrunner begins filling the portal with eyes. Nope, never mind. They almost die to this too. This guy cannot catch a break. It's like he's allergic to air. If anyone needs to cheat, it is this speedrunner. So the speedrunner spawns into the end. There is a very sudden cut, and they say, guys, OMG, I'm back in survival, no. And they're saying no because they understand that they will die in 0.2 seconds. Yeah, this speedrun is just sad to watch. This guy is getting tossed around like a boxing bag in the same room as Mike Tyson. They are in creative mode and have unlimited beds, and I could literally do more damage on the dragon with my eyes closed and while I am sleeping. The speedrunner has exhausted all of his options for cheating, so they go into their video settings, they click on skin customization. What are you gonna do, buddy? Turn off the left pants leg? Just accept the fact that you are bad at this game. They literally have beds in their inventory and they are hitting the Ender Dragon with an axe. Listen, I think on top of the GoFundMe we're gonna start for this guy's medical condition about peeing, I think we should also start a fundraiser to help educate them on how to beat Minecraft. And yeah, just like that, they're in creative mode and the Ender Dragon is dead. I know this one was fake. It was just so stupid that I wanted to show it to you. This speedrun is pretty goofy because their timer is just smack dab right in the middle of the screen. I'm not sure why they put that there, if they're trying to hide something or they just don't understand how speedruns work. There's only one way to find out. On top of that, their speedrun timer begins before they even start playing. Buddy, what are you doing here? And they're already level 7. This is not looking good. And oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm tired, but I just noticed now that it's nighttime. Let's just get this over with. The speedrunner immediately runs towards these trees and begins breaking it. But in a very sudden cut, going frame by frame, the speedrun footage skips ahead by 3 seconds, and there is an extremely inconspicuous chest in a hole. And inside the chest is 64 oak planks and a treasure map. Oh wow, would you look at that? How convenient. There's an X marks the spot on the beach right next to them. So the speedrunner goes over to the X marks the spot and they dig down for a very long time. What in tarnation? After wasting a whole 15 seconds, they finally find the chest and inside is full netherite gear. Whoop-de-doo-dah. What a surprise. How convenient. And wow, would you look at that? It's the red wool that they used to build all of this in the first place. Buddy, how obvious can you be? Then the speedrun just immediately cuts to them running towards a nether portal that is fully completed. No sign of, oh, I don't know, maybe like a ruined portal structure. Are you even trying to make this believable? Yeah, well, it just gets worse. The speedrunner, when they enter the nether, they find a mini nether fortress. And the spawner on the mini nether fortress is a sheep spawner. In the chest next to the sheep spawner is a single ender pearl and 2 blaze rods. So naturally, the speedrunner takes their newly found materials and creates an Eye of Ender. That is not how you create an Eye of Ender, buddy. Did you just blow in from Stupid Town? Oh my goodness, then they make a crafting table to make Eyes of Ender? This could not get any worse. After wasting an appropriate amount of time, they finally figure out how to create blaze powder, and then they make their Eye of Ender. Congratulations, congratulations. When the speedrunner returns to the overworld, they show their extreme skill at Minecraft by just spam clicking all the enemies in front of them. After witnessing such raw talent and skill, the speedrunner runs across the beach and there is just this like pillar emerging from the ocean floor. So the speedrunner dives into the ocean to discover what is going on here, and it's the stronghold portal room. Why am I not surprised? Very convenient. They have 1 Eye of Ender. The portal is missing 1 eye. Well, the speedrunner fills the end portal. They enter the end at a world record pace of 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Holy cow, holy cannoli. I am so impressed and so proud of this speedrunner. Wait a second, why are they typing in the chat box? Yeah, they went into creative mode. Then they give themselves an elytra and a rocket even though they are already in creative mode. And for someone who is in creative mode and cheating to this degree, they are really bad at being in creative mode. The speedrunner wastes a whole 2 minutes trying to beat the game. The dragon's health has not even reached 50% yet, and then their timer just stops working. What is with cheating speedrunners and malfunctioning timers? After wasting even more time, the speedrun footage just cuts to the dragon being dead, and the timer is at 40 seconds. And just like that, they beat Minecraft in a world record 50 seconds. Nope, never mind, hang on. For the last like 2 seconds of the footage that I have, their speedrun timer just starts running again. This is so goofy. This speedrun is pretty breathtaking, but it goes by very quickly, so I'm gonna have to watch it frame by frame here. The real question is it legitimate? Is it fake? I don't know. You're gonna have to tell me. So the speedrunner spawns into their world and everything is looking good. They got a timer at the bottom. They press escape, going into the game menu, changing their difficulty to easy. From there, the speedrunner approaches this very specific grass block and they break it. And just breaking a few blocks, they fall into a cavern system. And the speedrunner gets very lucky because there is a library with cobwebs and they use that to break their fall damage. And wow, would you look at that? They landed directly into the stronghold. And while the speedrunner is falling, they open this chest and take this iron pickaxe. So they definitely mean business if they're not grabbing that armor, I'm just saying. There is a creeper and 2 skeletons in front of them. The speedrunner has 6 hearts and they use an iron pickaxe to break the skeleton on the right. The speedrunner gets very lucky by getting this bow that has probably 1 shot left in it and 2 arrows. So the speedrunner opens up this door and directly in front of them is the stronghold, which is extremely lucky. Now the speedrun footage does not show it, but it's very clear that the end portal is completely filled. So the likelihood of something like this happening is very, very low. I am more likely to get a video sponsored by Opera GX, for example. For some reason, they're just not responding to my messages. Come on, guys, sponsor a video. So as soon as the speedrunner enters the end, they press escape and they change their render distance, increasing it. So the only reason I can guess why they would do this is to make sure that the Ender Dragon is spawning in and operating correctly. I don't know. Well, the speedrunner mines mines 3 very specific blocks of end stone, climbing up onto the top of the end island and mining more blocks. They put 2 end stone blocks on the ground, dig a hole behind it, getting into that hole and readying their arrow. And as soon as the ender dragon approaches them, they shoot their arrow at the dragon. And with the speedrunner themselves having 1.5 hearts left over, they somehow one-shot the ender dragon. How is this possible? Is this fake? Is this real? Let me explain. This is actually an any percent set seed glitchless Minecraft speedrun. And the way the speedrunner just one-shot the ender dragon, as basically as I can explain it, is that while the speedrunner was getting knocked back by the dragon, while also being as close as possible to the center of its hitbox, the more speed they are gaining from being knocked back. So they shoot their arrow while temporarily having that high speed from the knockback. Their arrow also has this velocity, and the arrow's damage is proportional to its speed. After beating the ender dragon, the speedrunner does have 1.5 hearts left over. I thought it would be funny if they died by accident, but they didn't, and they actually beat the game in 54 seconds in game time, which is pretty impressive. I just thought it was cool, so I wanted to share it with you. This speedrun, you are in for a wild ride. I have no idea what Vlogstar is, but it's probably some sort of goofy third-party recording app. Their timer is cut off. They've clearly already been playing in this world. As soon as the speedrun begins, who is this man? When the speedrunner looks away and they look back, the guy is just gone. Then, when the speedrunner enters this villager house in front of them, in the corner of their screen, there is a tank. Well, immediately after that, they look away, opening the chest, and there is just a very large amount of obsidian and a single flint and steel. Way to be subtle, buddy. Then the speedrunner moves over to the next house, and in that chest is a stack of golden apples, a lightly used diamond pickaxe, and a shield. But hang on a second, while the speedrunner is equipping their shield, what kind of haircut did Minecraft Steve get? Look how they massacred my boy! The next few moments are just stimulus overload, so let me break it down piece by piece here. The speedrunner very casually walks by a tank. Then there is just a cavern full of diamond ore blocks, and when they enter the cavern, it is completely lit up with billions of torches. At the bottom of the cavern, there is even more diamond ore, so naturally, the speedrunner casually mines this ore. My question is, the speedrunner already has basically everything they would need. They waste so much time mining this diamond ore. What is the purpose here, buddy? After that, though, you can hear the speedrunner whispering under his breath, saying, "I need a sword."
I need a sword.
Immediately after, there is a sudden cut where there's a netherite sword on the ground, and then in the corner of the screen, you can see the mysterious person from earlier just floating away into the sunset. This is so goofy. Well, the speedrunner now decides they're going to create a nether portal. In a very strange way, a very inefficient way, some would say. There is no reason at all to make it so tall. They took so much damage in the process of creating it, but anyways, they light it with their flint and steel and enter the nether. Once the speedrunner spawns into the nether, though, there's really no good way to see what's happening on the screen, but somehow they just burn to death by accident. And then when they spawn back in, their computer is so slow that the only thing that has rendered on their screen is the tank. This is too painful to push through. Well, yada yada yada. The speedrunner gets items again, they return to their nether portal, and they're back in the nether. And again, you can see their friend just floating in the corner of their screen. On top of that, how did a cow get here? I don't even know. The speedrunner just aimlessly walks around, wasting so much time until they get hit by a gassed fireball and they die again. Well, the speedrunner spawns back in, they're in the nether, they've got nothing. It's 5 minutes into the speedrun. At this point, a professional speedrunner would have been in the stronghold by now, I don't know. There is a stone bridge in front of them. How much more ridiculous is this gonna get? And wow, would you look at that, the stone bridge leads right to a nether fortress. How lucky. There's only one problem. The speedrunner cannot get up to the nether fortress. So their friend comes back to the rescue, giving them a variety of random blocks, at which point their friend hits them off of the bridge by accident, almost killing them again. So the speedrunner builds up to the nether fortress. Somehow a netherite sword just appears in their inventory. I have no idea how, and they die again. How much more of this speedrun do I have to watch? Come on, guys. So the speedrunner spawns back in. They're in creative mode. They look around, and there's just blaze rods all over the ground. I am in physical pain at this point. There is so much time being wasted. You're in creative mode, why not just float on back to the nether portal? I don't know. They put themselves back into survival mode, but after that happens, all of their items just suddenly multiply, at which point, if you were thinking this couldn't get any worse, it does. They walk forward, they find a chest. Inside the chest is an AK-47 and P90.
In an instant.
Items in this chest are just magically appearing out of thin air. A used pair of pants, a sword, a pickaxe, a desert eagle, RPG ammo, a prison shank. What is happening here? Then suddenly the speedrunner is just in creative mode, very casual. So the speedrunner gives the desert eagle to the piglin, while you can very clearly see their friend in frame on the screen here, and they did a horrible job at attempting to crop their friend out. Their friend throws golden ingots onto the ground. The speedrunner wastes so much time tossing these golden ingots at the piglin. I don't know if their game is broken at this point, but the piglin is just not taking the bait. They are not picking up these ingots. I don't know if I'm just exhausted from watching this speedrun, but I genuinely cannot figure out why the piglin won't take the gold. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Their friend just starts pooping out ender pearls in front of them. And now that the speedrunner has blaze rods and ender pearls, the next logical step here is to craft eyes of ender, right? No, well instead they're still in creative mode, and they search Ayai and Ayer, and despite having all the necessary items to craft Eyes of Ender, they just give it to themselves from creative mode. That's when you hear them say this.
I'm gonna cut this out, okay?
I'm gonna cut this out, okay? Buddy, I am witnessing the final cut. This was not cut out. And I'm sorry, wait a second. While they are browsing in creative mode, what in tarnation is that? Is that a bird? A pufferfish on a stick? Yeah, just like that, they're back in the overworld. The speedrunner returns to the surface, they throw their Eye of Ender, their friend floats up into the sky, all normal things here. They walk by a full-sized tank, like I said, all normal Minecraft things. After throwing an unnecessary amount of Eyes of Ender, the speedrunner just magically goes into survival mode out of nowhere, and things just continue to get worse. They start typing in the chat box a question mark, then just /locate structure stronghold, which clearly did not work, and after trying to use commands to locate a stronghold, you can very clearly hear the speedrunner say this.
Anyway, guys, I gotta chant the special theme song.
That they have to chant a special theme song? What?
End portal, please spawn beneath me.
That's very interesting. I've never heard that theme song before. That would be a miracle if that hey. Yeah, they dig down beneath the diamond ore block layer, and underneath them is an end portal. I don't think I'm gonna make it to the end of the speedrun, I'm just gonna be honest. At a world record time of 5 minutes and 50 seconds, the speedrunner is now in the end. There is an obsidian bridge leading the speedrunner to the end island. You can very clearly see their goofy friend building this bridge right in front of them in plain sight. It is hilarious seeing this horrible speedrunner using an assault rifle up against the ender dragon. Yeah, they die. Am I surprised? No, not at all. Yeah, well, the speedrunner spawns back into the overworld, they return to their completely legitimate end portal, and now they're back in the end. This time, though, the speedrunner is in a tank. Yeah, I wasn't really surprised by this one. Unfortunately though, the speedrunner is just so bad, even assault rifles and tanks will not help them to beat the game. Their speedrun timer reset to 0 seconds out of nowhere, I don't know what happened. And now they are at an all-time new low, floating around in creative mode, unable to even hit the dragon. And the way they kill the dragon is with a pickaxe. I refuse to believe this speedrun is real. I just refuse to believe it. But here's the real kicker. After they beat the game, in what time, I don't actually know because their timer malfunctioned, the speedrunner put text on the screen saying, "Don't forget, watch the credits." So if I skip through and listen to all the credits, it sounds like they brought their microphone into the bathroom by accident. It is repulsive.
Oh, Jesus Christ, it's coming along at a horror!
That is disgusting. Yeah, it just cuts off like that. This guy should honestly be banned from ever submitting a speedrun again in the future. Now listen, before I start this next speedrun, I'm just gonna preface by saying I am terrified. They're playing in windowed mode. They're speedrunning Minecraft 1.7. They've got a mini-map on the screen. These are red flags. This guy is up to no good. As soon as I start the speedrun, they are already on their way into the nether. Okay, I'll just roll with this. Let's see what happens. Their computer must be a potato PC because it just takes such a long time to load. When the speedrunner is in the nether, even though they're in survival mode, they are flying around, which I have no idea how, but they come across this chest. And in the chest, they find an M42. This one was legit. I am not messing with this speedrunner. This speedrunner spawns right in front of a village. You will not believe it. The player is walking towards the village. Fantastic spawn. Then they say this.
Strong focus on what I want.
And wow, face to face with a golem. This speedrunner's got some real gabagools on them. They say I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye. They kill the golem and get iron ingots. And then at a world record pace of 20 seconds, they dance with the iron ingots, craft it into a water bucket, and I personally have never seen this technique before in Minecraft speedrunning. They throw their water bucket at a lava pool, and holy cow, it turns into a nether portal. That was amazing. So the speedrunner enters the nether at a world record pace of 30 seconds, and then from there, they use never before seen techniques to traverse across the nether, and the speedrunner literally falls into a nether fortress.
My back!
How lucky is that? This speedrunner is so good, they are killing the wither and the blaze without even needing to touch them. How is this possible? I don't know. They get their blaze rod and sprint back to their nether portal. And from there, now that the speedrunner is in the overworld, somehow, I don't know how, someone's gonna have to explain this to me so my peanut-sized brain will be able to understand. They summon a stronghold in the middle of the sky. The speedrunner explores the stronghold with just so much swagger. The speedrunner says door, the door opens, then they find the portal room, and oh my goodness, it's a 12-eye? That is unbelievably lucky. So they jump into the portal, entering the end.
Damn!
The speedrunner breaks the end crystals, and with the power of James Brown, they defeat the Ender Dragon.
Now dig on this.
Now wait a second though, what does that mean? Dig on this? They're somehow turning back their speedrun timer. How is this possible? And just like that, the speedrunner beats Minecraft in a world record 1 minute and 0.78 seconds. And no, this was not the wrong footage. This speedrun is definitely promising. They're in survival mode, nothing fishy going on here. There is a CapCut watermark on their screen, and they are playing in windowed mode, which definitely makes me doubt if they are a true gamer. Who plays in windowed mode? Come on. But the speedrunner does say this before they begin speedrunning.
This is not fake. Trust me.
Yeah, this is not fake. I'm sorry, but if anyone says trust me, I'm automatically not gonna trust them. As soon as the speedrun starts, their timer starts at 1¼ seconds. Why it doesn't start at 0, I don't know. So the speedrunner jumps down, taking tons of damage, and they immediately start attacking this iron golem, and then they die. But you know, it's fine, their timer's still going. When they respawn, it's very clearly cut because they've already taken damage, they already have experience points. Oh brother. So the speedrunner begins attacking the iron golem again, and they die again. Whoop-de-doo, I am not surprised by that. Again, there's another very sloppy cut. The speedrunner cannot spawn at an angle like this. Why are they cutting the footage? Also, I gotta say, while they are breaking this wood, I love how they have the most dramatic cinematic music playing in the background.
Alright, here we go. Hurry!
You're breaking wood, buddy. This is not anything earth-shattering. Anyways, the speedrunner creates a crafting table. Then the speedrunner creates a wooden axe. But while they're doing that, take a look at the top left corner of their screen. Their speedrun timer is not actually a real timer. It's just a screen recording of a YouTube video of a speedrun timer. So every time their speedrun timer gets to 1 minute, they just replay the same screen recording every minute. This is so goofy. I cannot bring myself to believe that this is real. Anyways, the speedrunner jumps back down, they start attacking the golem again, and after showing their lovely skill and agility by missing the golem, and surprisingly not dying, they do actually end up killing the golem. But as soon as they drop down to pick up their 4 iron ingots, there is the most obviously hilarious cut, where after the cut, there's just this sloppy pile of random nonsense in front of them on the ground, and they didn't even take the time to cut out the segment where they're switching to survival mode. So yeah, they got iron ingots, they got a netherite sword, a netherite chest plate, and Eyes of Ender. Oh my Lanta, you're not fooling anybody. Well, the speedrunner tosses one of their Eyes of Ender, and then they approach this large pile of hay. After breaking 2 blocks of hay, you can hear them slamming on their laptop keyboard, switching into creative mode.
But first, we need to get some hay bales.
And I guess they just forgot to cut this part out where they're shamelessly in creative mode, giving themselves a stack of hay. All the while, their speedrun timer has reset and it's now just showing YouTube. And it's like they're following a script. He goes right back into it saying, okay guys, we got our hay bales.
Alright guys, we just collected the hay bales.
This is probably some of the worst editing I have ever seen, ever. Well, their 1 minute speedrun timer is back on the screen. They throw another Eye of Ender and all of a sudden the speedrun footage is just in fast forward motion while the timer is still going at the same pace. The speedrunner approaches a tree with beehives on it and they start attacking the beehives. Why? I do not know. I cannot tell you. They get very close to dying until there is just another shameless cut where the hive is gone, the bees are gone, they're in creative mode, and there's more netherite gear just hanging out on the ground chilling. While the speedrunner goes back into survival mode, revealing that they have 1.5 hearts and then they're back on their script. But their game audio is so loud you can't hear a single word that they are saying. It is hilarious.
Oh my god! Oh, look at it!
I am so genuinely confused. The speedrunner then puts down a crafting table and they start making bread in the slowest way possible. This is so wildly inefficient, but okay, let him cook. And then I guess to make up for the fact that he just wasted so much time being inefficient about crafting bread, the video is sped up again. They go into creative mode, throwing tons of Eyes of Ender. Then finally they break down and start typing the /locate command. Yeah, that's when you know you are desperate. They type in stronghold, but the game is saying there is no structure. Then they type in end portal. This speedrunner just cannot win. When is he gonna catch a break? The guy is throwing so many Eyes of Ender, it has become an ASMR video at this point. Until finally the speedrunner strikes gold. They realize, okay, I must be directly above the stronghold. They go back into survival mode and just resume their goofy script, acting like none of that ever happened.
Alright guys, somebody...
Hang on a second though, what in tarnation just happened? They were digging down, they were clearly right above the stronghold, then all of a sudden there's this random cut. It's the next day, and they have end portal frames in their inventory. Unfortunately, this segment was cut out of the speedrun. What happened in between? We are gonna go the rest of our lives never knowing. Well, anyways, the speedrunner creates the end portal, filling it with eyes, and they enter the end. And I'm not sure how or why, but when they get into the end, they full screen Minecraft. Buddy, you couldn't have done that like 5 minutes ago? This is probably one of the most cursed things I've ever experienced. Building up onto the top of the island with end portal frames. Like a true beginner, the speedrunner just starts looking at all of the Endermen, and their game audio is so loud compared to their microphone audio that you can just hear their muffled screams underneath the yelling of the Endermen.
Oh, why are there Endermen? Oh my god.
And with barely half a heart left, they panic and give themselves creative mode. Now that the speedrunner's in creative mode, they're just flying around willy-nilly, breaking all the end crystals. You cannot hear a single thing. Their game audio is cranked up to 11 with the bass boosted to 25.
Are you Enderman? I'm just trying to... This is the fastest speedrun.
And after they finish destroying all the end crystals, they shamelessly give themselves a water bucket, go into survival mode, and then they even have the gabagools to set their world spawn. So the speedrunner tries jumping off of the obelisk and doing a water bucket clutch, and they die. No surprise there. Now hang on a second, after they respawn, the set world spawn command didn't even work. If I go frame by frame, they clearly spawn in the overworld. So now the speedrunner is magically back in the end. They put themselves into survival mode and they pick up all of the items that they lost when they died. Well, this is it. No more fooling around. The speedrunner is locked and loaded. They're on their way to the Ender Dragon to destroy this thing legitimately, and they're in creative mode again. Just spamming beds, and their game audio is so loud that you cannot hear a single thing. It is hilarious. After the Ender Dragon dies by completely natural causes, the speedrunner puts themselves back into survival mode, and you know what? What's a creative mode? I didn't see anything fishy about this speedrun. If you're a speedrun connoisseur like me, I'm sure you are very familiar with the Japan World Cup, one of the most prestigious speedrun events in the world. There's so many talented speedrunners in the Japan World Cup, we're just gonna have to showcase all of them. Man on horse, woman on horse, man on horse leaning back with silly hairdo, two people on a horse, person on a panda, tiny person on tiny horse, person on an elephant who's disguised as a horse. I'm pretty sure that's two people disguised as a horse in a barrel. And just like that, the speedrun begins. Two people on a horse are in the lead, followed by man leaning back on horse with silly hairdo, followed by woman on horse, followed by just a regular man on a horse. Oh my goodness, never mind. The horse is dancing. Tiny person on a tiny horse is followed by the man on a panda, followed by the man on an elephant disguised as a horse. This is unheard of. Followed by two people disguised as a horse in a barrel. And oh my goodness, just like that, two people disguised as a horse in a barrel, they collapsed. I knew it. I knew it wasn't a real horse. Part of me was thinking it was a real horse, but I know it wasn't. And this is crazy. Regular man on horse is in the lead. The horse is dancing, but man on horse leaning back with silly hairdo is slowly catching up. And that's when regular man on regular horse starts twirling around, and they do a leap into the finish of the first lap. But that's not all we're gonna see when it comes to the most extreme speedrunning tactics. Out of nowhere, man on panda gets launched into the sky, and then he's picked up by panda, bear hugged by him, and now they are rolling. Dream would never be able to do this. Then out of nowhere, man leaning back on horse with silly hairdo, he's cheating. They are in a vehicle. This is completely against the rules. Speedrun.com would not approve of this. And just like that, frame by frame, picture perfect finish, man leaning back on horse with silly hairdo in a vehicle wins the second lap by cheating. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm just messing around. This is the wrong footage. Huge shout out to all of our channel members. If you want a shout out at the end of the video like this and receive other special membership perks like badges next to your name in the comments, special Ayundaru emojis, and more, click the join button to find out more. Thank you for watching, subscribe, and if you enjoyed it, here's more of my other videos on screen to watch now.